Divine Sword of the Douluo Spiritual Pearl. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 476, The Seventh Test of Shuragod. In the city of Killing, with the help of the huge soul power provided by the 400,000-year-old soul bone, and with the help of Lian Zhen's ultimate Douluo's understanding, Tianlin finally succeeded in breaking through. Today, he is a 96th level Super Douluo. Congratulations to the inheritor. The sixth test of Shuragod has been completed. The reward for the affinity of Shuragod is 15%, which is now 70%. At this moment, the Shura sword seal flashed with light, announcing the sixth test of Tianlin pass. Well done, inheritor. We took back the city of Killing. God Shura's voice sounded in Tianlin's mind. I happen to be trying to find a way to contact you, Lord Shuragod. Tianlin said with a smile. This trip to the Killing City has allowed me to find out a lot of things. I will tell you all now. Tianlin told God Shura everything about the evil sword immortal and his collusion with God Rakshasa. Anyway, God Shura knew that he was a time traveler and also knew about the spirit pearl divine sword, so he had nothing to hide from him of point. Moreover, for evil sword immortal to accomplish his goal, the most important thing is to pass the level of Shuragod. If Shuragod is prepared, it will be easier to stop evil sword immortal's conspiracy. So, that's it. Among the treasures that traveled through time, there were actually such evil things. No wonder I captured the extremely huge evil energy at that time. Evil sword immortal, your target is the 7 original sin gods, isn't it? That's a nice thought. Don't worry, Tianlin. The 7 original sins are subordinates of the god of destruction. I will inform Destruction and ask him to be careful not to be taken advantage of. As for Rakshasa, I will keep an eye on him. Although there is no evidence now, and I can't attack him directly, I can guarantee that except for Bibidong, he will no longer be able to contact anyone in the lower world. God Shura promised. Bibi, after all, Dong is the inheritor of Rakshasa. Shura can't stop her, but if you still want to contact the evil sword immortal, Shura means you are dreaming. Tianlin, I'm in the god realm and I can't interfere too much in the affairs of the lower realm. I'll leave the evil sword immortal to you. Shura once again entrusted everything to Tianlin. He had no choice but to do so. He was a law enforcer and could not break the law and go to the realm at will. Besides, he did not think that the evil sword immortal was Tianlin's opponent. Not only in terms of strength, but also in terms of intelligence. The two sides are not equal. Theoretically, they cannot defeat. However, Tianlin always felt that he and Shura seemed to have missed something, but he couldn't figure it out for the moment. By the way, Tianlin, you passed the 6th test very well. Now you can start the 7th test. This test is very critical. You must pass it. At this time, Shuragod interrupted his thoughts. Tianlin replied, I know, don't worry, Tianlin. Summon the 7th card of the Shuragod test. The 7th card of the Shuragod test. Pull out the Shura demon sword, limited to 1 year. A flash of blood flashed, and a long sword inserted in the scabbard floated in front of Tianlin with the light point. The 7th test of all divine examinations is the same, which is to obtain the approval of the gods' inherited artifacts. For Tianlin, this is not too difficult and the time is sufficient. He did not pass the test immediately, otherwise he would have to start the 8th test immediately. After taking the exam, he didn't know what the content was. He still had some things to do, and needed some time to breathe. After putting the Shura demonic sword with the scabbard into the soul guide, Tianlin walked out of the hall. The girl in black gauze slowly walked toward him with seductive steps. Dear King of Slaughter, congratulations on your release from seclusion. What's going on in the Killing City recently? Tianlin asked. I have carried out your instructions. The few people trained by the former King of Slaughter through cheating have all died on the killing field of hell after rearranging normal opponents. The Slaughter City has completely restored its previous order. The girl in black gauze said. Tianlin nodded with satisfaction. Very good. Please ask the magic gun to come over. I have something to ask him. Yes. The girl in black gauze turned around and was about to leave. Suddenly she remembered something and turned around and said, "Dear new king of slaughter, you don't have to be so polite. My family and I were born to serve the slaughter city for life. Whoever is the king of slaughter is our master. You don't need to say trouble or please to us in the future. As long as you give an order, neither I nor the magic gun will disobey your order." The two major families, the Killing Envoy and the Killing City Law Enforcement Corps, have served the kings of Killing for thousands of years. Obedience to orders is almost ingrained in their blood. In one word, they are deeply servile. However, Tianlin didn't want to change anything between the two of them. In a place like the Killing City, if there is no obsession in the heart, it is easy to be influenced by countless evil people and become evil together by controlling them yourself. You can at least ensure the smooth operation of the Killing City. Not long after, Demon Spear Douluo came to the main hall under the leadership of the Killing Messenger. Demon Spear directly bowed down and said, "The leader of the law enforcement group of the Killing City, Demon Spear, pays homage to the King of Slaughter, Devil. Spear Douluo, I'm in trouble. No, I'm ordering you." Tianlin almost subconsciously said the word trouble again. He really didn't like ordering others, which was why he was destined not to become the emperor. "Please, give me your orders. You and the slaughter messenger, come back to the Qibao glazed sect with me. The previous slaughter king has used cheating methods to release many villains who obtained the murderous realm. I need you to tell my father-in-law all the details. After that, I, Qibao the Liuli sect, will send people to deal with those things." Tianlin now doesn't have that much time to go around the world to find those villains, so he can only borrow the power of the sect. However, the power of the sect is meant to be used at times like this. If Tianlin has to do everything personally, then what is the point of vigorously developing the sect? No problem, right? If you two leave the Killing City, will it affect the operation of this place? Tianlin asked. "Please, rest assured, sir, if you leave for a short time, there will be no impact. We still have a law enforcement team composed of nearly 10 contras who can use soul skills in our Killing City, which is enough to maintain the operation of the Killing City." Demon Spear Douluo and said. Tianlin nodded. He had also considered it. The former king of slaughter was gone. The evil sword immortal was also severely damaged by Tianlin. The rest still had the realm of the god of killing. The god of killing who could use soul skills in the city of killing. Hulina under his control. One of Tang Heo and Bibidang was killed, and the other injured. In a short period of time, no one could threaten the Killing City anymore. This was the reason why he took away Demon Spear Douluo and Killing Envoy with peace of mind. Tianlin led the two of them to leave the Killing City from the city gate openly, walked out of the tavern, and came to the outside world. For some reason, the originally gloomy town turned out to be sunny today. For Demon Spear Douluo and Slaughter Envoy, it was their first time to leave the Slaughter City, and they were actually somewhat curious about the outside world. Chapter 477 Returning to the sect to convey information. Taking Demon Spear Douluo and Killing Messenger with him, Tianlin immediately returned to the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. It's just that these two people don't have names. It's easy for Demon Spear Douluo. He can just call him Demon Spear. Although the name is weird, there is a title at least, but Killing Messenger can't always call her that. So Tianlin based on her general, she was dressed in black gauze and was given the nickname Zioan, which was finally a normal title. Today's Qibao city is still prosperous. Although Tianlin completely broke up with the Xiandao royal family back then, they did not dare to make any move. With one ultimate Douluo, they might be able to muster up a little bit of courage, but with two, they wouldn't dare to cause trouble, even if they were given 10 more courages, so they'd better go to bed early. When he came to Ningfeng's study, he and Gurang were both there, and Tianlin conveyed all the information during this period. To Ningfeng's Nu's descendants told Tianlin that this matter was not Tianlin's responsibility alone. The content of the Holy Emperor's assessment was for him to unite with his family and partners to eliminate the evil together. Therefore, for a few important people, at least let them know who the enemy is, as well as the enemy's purpose and ability. Evil. Sword immortal. I have never heard of it. There is such a species in this world, and I don't know where it came from. Ningfengzi frowned. Things are completely beyond my expectation. I originally thought that hiding the third force in Wuhan Palace is the Rakshasa god. In fact, Ning Fengzi has already discovered that the images of the dead villagers are consistent with the legendary 7 original sins, which are the 7 largest evil thoughts in the world. Tianlin happened to have said that Rakshasa god is the god in charge of evil thoughts and is being manipulated by Bibidang inherit point. So he reasoned that the Rakshasa god was dissatisfied with his position as a first level god and wanted to go further and cause trouble below. Since the true form of the god could not go down to the lower world, he could only act in secret. Point being able to reason to this point, Ning Fengzi is actually pretty good. After all, there is a huge intelligence gap between him and Tianlin. No matter how smart he is, he cannot deduce the existence of the evil sword immortal out of thin air. Ocean, you said that the evil sword immortal has been injured by you, right? Ning Fengzi asked. Yes, he was injured by my heaven and earth Yuanling slash. He will not be able to come out to cause trouble for at least a year. Tianlin is still somewhat confident in his strongest trick. Well done. It bought us a lot of time. I never knew who my opponent was, which was what I was most worried about. But now that I know, everything is much easier to handle. Ning Fengzi fell into thinking. Next, should I tell Bibidang directly and let her know that there is such a species around her? No, with Bibidang's current temperament, she will do anything to fight against our 7 treasures glazed sect. If instead she is allowed to take the initiative to fight with evil, the collusion between the sword immortal and the sword immortal is not good. In this case, I will assume the perspective of this evil sword immortal. If I were him, what would I do next? Even if I can't fight within a year, I will never just recuperate. Nothing to do. Ning Fengzi leaned on the chair with a smile on his lips. A figure appeared in his mind. The master, Yu Xiao Gang. Point the reason why Bibidang went crazy back then was that besides Kan Zhongji, wasn't he the other major factor? In other words, he was the trigger and root cause. By the way, I will use some tricks on him to plot against Bibidang. Come on. Following Ning Fengzi's order, a disciple of the minimum clan suddenly appeared and asked for orders. My subordinates are here. Please give me orders from the sect master. Ning Fengzi used voice transmission to convey his orders to this disciple. Because there were still outsiders here, he did not trust Demon Spear Douluo and Xiaoan very much, so the information could not be leaked. Point of course, he did not hide anything from Tianlin, and he was also included in the secret transmission. Point hearing Ning Fengzi's order, Tianlin was shocked. The evil sword immortal's idea may really be the same as Ning Fengzi's judgment at this time. If it is executed, others will not be prepared, and the chance of success is extremely high. Point the disciple of the minimum clan followed the order, and then Ning Fengzi looked at the two of them and said, you two, Ocean just said that you have very important information to tell me, right? Yes, under the orders of the new King of Slaughter, all the information about the god of killing sent by the previous King of Slaughter will be informed to sect. Master Ning Xiaoan stepped forward and said. Ning Fengzi nodded. Very good. We serve Tianlin as our master, turn around in time for the great righteousness, and are willing to take the blame and perform meritorious service. This is a blessing of the common people. As the top 3 sects, I will definitely not let countless innocent people be slaughtered again. You need to tell me the location and abilities of those people, and I will send people to kill the demons. Talking about the situation, Ning Fengzi was indeed much stronger than Tianlin. Tianlin rolled his eyes and said to him, where are they? If they have any ability, I will kill them immediately. There is no such thing as justice for the common people. It seems that Ning Fengzi has become a habit of speaking with this kind of thing when speaking. In other words, this is an ability that every leader of a big force has. Seeing Tianlin like this, Ning Fengzi knew that this guy was no longer interested in talking about things. In order to prevent him from causing trouble, Ning Fengzi hurriedly said, by the way, Ocean, there have been a few uninvited guests coming to see you these days. They have already stayed. It has been several days, and I have sent people to invite them to the Qibao hall. Please go and receive them immediately on my behalf. Uninvited guest? Tianlin was a little confused, but he didn't ask any more questions. He would know it when he saw it point after Tianlin left. Xiaowen immediately prepared to tell Ning Fengzi the information, but Ning Fengzi said first, "Wait a minute, let me ask a question first. Demon Spear Crown, you are from the Killing City, are you not here? Have you ever registered your own title in Wuhan Palace?" Demon Spear Douluo nodded. "Yes, actually I don't have a title. The names of all the clan leaders of our clan are Demon Spear, so we always call them directly by their first names. How can that be done? Title Douluo is the highest class in our continent. You have finally cultivated to such a level. You should leave your name in history. Come on, sign these 2 documents. I will go back to help you report. In the future, the magic gun, this is your confirmed account ban." Ning Fengzi smiled. "Oh, thank you, sect leader Ning." Demon Spear Douluo was stunned. Although he didn't care about the title ban, Tianlin asked him to temporarily obey Ning Fengzi's orders before leaving. He didn't hesitate for such a trivial matter. He immediately signed his name on the document. Gurang on the side widened his eyes. One of the documents was indeed a document confirming the title. It was to be sent to the Douluo Palace. The Wuhan Palace has 3 halls: the Pope Palace, the Enshrinement Palace and the Douluo Palace. Although the Douluo Palace is also affiliated with, no matter how hostile they are to Wuhan Hall, they will never disrespect it, because it is the holy place in the hearts of all soul masters regardless of whether they are friends or foes of Wuhan Palace. They are all proud to have their names engraved there. The problem is another one, with 5 big characters written on the cover. Application for admission. Gurang's face twitched. He was so charming. "Are you concerned about whether someone has registered a banned account? You are obviously greedy for someone else's body." Poor Mo Kayang. He was really deceived, and still counting money for you. Chapter 478. Haotian sect comes to visit. On the other side, Tianlin came to the Qibao hall, and saw a few so-called uninvited guests. That Ning Fengzi said. 4 people in total. 1 was an old man with a majestic face. Tianlin could tell at a glance that this person was a titled Douluo. The other was a beautiful woman who was none other than Tang Yuhe. The other 2 were Meng Shenji and Bei Ocean, 2 members of the Education Committee of Xiandao Royal Academy. Of the 3 Education Committee members, only one Zilin was left to take charge of the college. "Zhao Ocean, you are here." Yin Yang looked at Tianlin and introduced. "This is the great elder of Haotian sect, Lingshan Douluo Tangling, a 94th level titled Douluo. They are here specially for you." Tianlin nodded. He actually guessed their purpose when he saw these people. Tang Yuhe was very smart and did not gather a large number of sect disciples to come. Otherwise, Ning Fengzi could have regarded them as provoking Qibao Liuli. Zhang. It was just right for Tang Yuhe to bring only one elder, who had enough status, to talk to Ning Fengzi and Tianlin, and no one thought they were looking for trouble. As for the 2 Education Committee members, they should be the ones who asked the Xiandao Empire to help intercede. Tang Yuhe, who was very good at interpersonal relationships, could tell from what happened at the wedding that day that what these 3 Education Committee members said was at least 10 times more useful to Tianlin than Emperor Zuai's edict. "It turns out it's the Education Committee. It's rare for you to come to see me, but I've been away doing errands for the past few days and haven't returned, so I've kept you waiting for a long time." Tianlin greeted. Meng Shenji and others hurriedly stood up and saluted. "Why, the Holy Demon Crown is so polite." "Education Committee, you are not allowed to salute me." Tianlin hurriedly stopped him. "I said, you are my elders. There is no reason for elders to salute juniors, and you don't have to call me Holy Demon Crown or titled Douluo. I don't value their status at all. I also want to apologize to you too. At the wedding banquet that day, I had no choice but to knock them unconscious. I'm really sorry. I also ask you to convey Tianlin's apology to Zilin later." Board of Education, Bei Ocean sighed and said, "Oh, you are obviously a good boy. Why do you act so domineering sometimes?" Tianlin was already 100 times stronger than him, but he still treated him respectfully, which made him very happy. For a soul master, morality is more important than strength. The problem is that Tianlin has a very double standard of morality. It all depends on the person. The person he recognizes has no change between him at level 10 and him at level 90. He deserves a lot of respect, but he doesn't recognize him. The person is like an avalanche. He can scold him at the slightest level, hit him at the most severe level, or just cut him with a sword at the more serious level. HMPH. What a good boy. He doesn't even say hello to anyone he sees. Lingshan Douluo said coldly. Since Tianlin killed his 7th brother Liang Douluo, his ability to hold back from taking action was already the limit point. Tianlin smiled disdainfully. Sorry, I don't even recognize you. What do you need to say hello? Anyway, there is no way to resolve the feud between him and the Haoshan sect, so there is no need to say some polite words. Great. Elder, Your Majesty the Holy Demon Crown, please calm down. We are not here to quarrel. Tang Yuhua comforted her. She was worthy of being the master of Yuxuan who specializes in teaching etiquette. She understood very well that what Tianlin just said does not need to be correct. He used the honorific title to address the 2 education committee members, and she was only a small 9th level soul warrior and had nothing to do with Tianlin, so the ceremony could not be revoked when facing the title Douluo. Tianlin sat down on his deputy sect leader's seat and said, Master Tang Xuan, let's get straight to the point. You are here for Tangsun and Tang Hao, right? Exactly. If Your Majesty the Holy Demon Crown knows the whereabouts of my 2nd brother and nephew, please inform Yuhua. Yuhua will be grateful. I'm also willing to try my best to deal with the 7th Elder's matter and resolve the hatred between our 2 sects. After all, grievances are repaid. When will Wuhan Palace be our common enemy? Now all the small sects in the 2 empires, as well as more than a dozen kingdoms and principalities have been integrated by them. If Yuhua guessed correctly, I'm afraid that it won't be long before we are ready to establish a country. Tang Yuhua's understanding was general, or he could be said to be very tolerant. For the sake of Tang Hao and Tang San, he could even put aside the hatred of his 7th elder for the time being. After all, the 7th elder is dead no matter what. Not to mention that they can't take revenge now. Even if they do, so what? People can't be resurrected after death. The top priority is to find Tang San and Tang Hao, Master Tang Xuan. In fact, if you put aside the differences in strength and gender, I think you are more suitable to be the leader of the Haoshan sect than Tang Xiao, because you have an overall view. Tianlin said with a smile. It's a pity that your overall view cannot be improved today. It's useless, because Tang San and Tang Hao are both dead, and they both died in front of me. What did you say? Lingshan Douluo and Tang Yuhua were shocked. After a long time, Tang Yuhua asked in a longing tone, Your Majesty the Holy Demon Crown, you must be joking with me, right? I know that there are many things that happened before. I'm offended, but this matter has nothing to do with my 2nd brother and Tang San, so please don't worry about it. She very much hoped to get a negative answer from Tianlin, but unfortunately what Tianlin said was the truth. Don't you believe it? When Tang San died, a 100,000-year-old blue-silver emperor's right leg bone fell from his right leg. Tang Hao also had 6 soul bones in his body, except for the 2 inherited soul bones from your Haoshan sect. Do you want me to also tell you what the other soul bones are? Hearing this, the 2 of them had no doubts. If they hadn't seen them die with their own eyes, they wouldn't have known this much about them. Tang Yuhua suddenly felt despair and fell to the ground in despair. She was too weak and couldn't bear it. Withstand such a blow. It was you. You killed them, right? Go to hell. Lingshan Douluo couldn't hold back his anger anymore. The 7th elder and Tang's father and son, how many powerful men in their Haoshan sect were killed by Tianlin. Forget about Tang Hao. He didn't want to see him, but the 7th elder felt like brothers and sisters with him, and among the 5 elders, he was the first to recognize Tang San. He saw the potential of Tang San's twin martial spirits, and hoped that one day he can lead Haoshan sect to rise again. The Clear Sky sect is a bunch of reckless people, and the sect wants to be destroyed. If he can still bear it, he will be sorry for his Clear Sky hammer. Ling Xian strikes. The anger of his brother being killed, and the hope of his sect being destroyed, made Tang Ling lose his mind. He ignored the huge strength gap between himself and Tianlin, and actually swung the hammer and hit Tianlin hard. Tianlin was indifferent to such an attack, but Yin Yang was furious. Tang Ling, how dare you? The Thunder Feather Golden Eagle was possessed, and Yin Yang was just about to take action, but someone moved faster than him. A blood-red spear flew in from the gate, hitting the body of the clear sky hammer, and killed Haoshan with one move. The sky hammer opens shocked by the huge force. Ling Shandaoluo's arms were trembling at this moment, and he was even more surprised. The person who came was actually stronger than him, and he used a gun as his spirit, which meant that it was not the pair of sword bones. Don't hurt my lord. A cold man in dark red armor jumped into the hall, knelt on one knee in front of Tianlin and said, "My king, the magic spear is late. You don't need to take action personally for such a small character. I will do it for you. Just cook." Tianlin nodded. Go. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 479, The Demonic Gun Battle with Haoshan. The cause of death of the Tang family's father and S. Demon Spear. Douluo pulled out the spear on the ground, and his whole body erupted with murderous aura. He was born in the land of killing, and grew up in the city of killing. To him, killing someone is as simple as eating and drinking. Moreover, the education he received since childhood, the purpose of his life, is first to obey orders, and protect the king of slaughter, and secondly to maintain the rules of the slaughter city. What? A terrible murderous aura. This murderous aura is simply more powerful than Tianlin and Kendao Chengxin. Meng Shenji and Bei Baoshan were horrified. When did the Qibao glazed sect appear such a monster again? They didn't even hear it. Heard it. Anyone who offends my master will die. Demon Spear. Douluo snorted coldly. 9 soul rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple, 5 black, were already attached to the spear, and the fluctuation of its soul power was far better than that of Ling Shandaoluo. Ling Shandaoluo is a 94th level titled Douluo. Among ordinary titled Douluo, he has already reached the pinnacle. If he takes another step up, he will reach the 95th level, where he has completely transformed. This person is a super Douluo. Several people immediately confirmed the strength of Demon Spear. Douluo. 7th soul skill, Demonic Spear Avatar. Demonic Spear. Douluo didn't waste any time. He activated the weapon Soul Avatar and stabbed Ling Shandaoluo. Unlike those who were flashy and like to speak cruelly, he was born with he is a murderer, so he never knows how to write the word show mercy. As long as he is sure that the other person is an enemy, he will kill him at all costs. The 7th soul skill, the true body of the weapon soul. Seemingly frightened by such a decisive Demon Spear. Douluo, Ling Shandaoluo also subconsciously activated the true body of the weapon soul. In the Qibao hall, the spears and hammers were constantly colliding, and every surge of soul power from both sides would cause the entire Qibao glazed sect to shake like an earthquake. Xiaoshan, should we stop them? Otherwise, the Qibao hall will be gone. Yin Yang said, Grandpa. Don't worry, let the people of Haoshan sect taste the power of the magic gun. As for the 7 treasures hall, I will protect it. Tianlin wrapped up the entire hall with his soul power, which was greater than the magic gun. With the quality of his soul power, no matter how fierce the battle between the two sides was, he could not damage the hall in the slightest point. The attack of the magic spear became more and more intense. He could not even care about the clear sky hammer hitting him, but still wanted to pierce Ling Shandaoluo's heart with the bloodthirsty magic spear. Every time this happened, Ling Shandaoluo had to withdraw his hammer and defend himself. Damn it, is this guy a lunatic? He is obviously stronger than me, but he still has to fight in this way of exchanging lives for lives. Ling Shandaoluo was in unspeakable suffering. Several people on the side were also frightened by the madness of the magic gun. Generally speaking, when facing an opponent whose strength is inferior to one's own, there is no need to use such desperate tactics. As long as you fight steadily and spend more time, you can easily get away without getting hurt. But Demon Spear. Douluo, as if killing his opponent even 1 second late would be considered a sin, he completely ignored himself. Every shot was only for offense, but not for defense, and he paid great attention to killing efficiency. Ling Shandaoluo did not have such determination as him. He had finally cultivated to the level of titled Douluo. He cherished his life very much. Just now he was just overwhelmed by anger. Now he calmed down and regretted that he should not have attacked Tianlin just now. Putting aside the fact that this was the headquarters of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, Tianlin himself was no match for him. At least he would never be able to kill Liang Douluo with just one move point because of fear. Lingshan Douluo became a little timid and just kept defending. But if he defended for a long time, he would lose. With one mistake, the clear sky hammer did not completely block the bloodthirsty demon spear, but only slightly changed the trajectory of the demon spear. The magic spear that was originally aimed at the heart finally passed through Lingshan Douluo's shoulder. Great Elder. Seeing this, Tang Yuhua's eyes, which were originally full of despair, showed a hint of panic. The second brother, the seventh elder and Tang San were all dead. The great elder must not cause trouble in the Qibao glazed sect again. Okay, stop. Magic done. At this moment, Ning Fengxi and Zioen walked in from the gate. In fact, they had arrived a long time ago, but Ning Fengxi and Tianlin had the same idea and wanted to fight against the Haoshan sect and the Xiandao Empire will show off their power again. Yes. Demon Spear Douluo stopped immediately. He would not listen to Ning Fengxi originally, but since Tianlin ordered him to listen, he would obey the order obediently. The two education committee members and Tang Yuhua immediately stepped forward to help up the seriously injured Lingshan Douluo, and Meng Shenji used his soul power to stop his bleeding. Fortunately, he was also a titled Douluo, so such an injury would not be fatal. Sect Master Ning Yuhua apologizes to you for what happened just now, but the Great Elder also had a reason for it. It was all because your sect went too far and actually killed so many of us. You have always said that the three sects are connected with each other. In one sentence, Tang Yuhua asked softly. Even in this situation, she did not show any feeling of questioning. Ning Fengxi glanced at her in surprise. He originally wanted to attack. After all, it was Lingshan Douluo who made the first move, but he didn't expect that at this level. This woman still didn't have any anger in her speech, and even took the initiative to apologize to him. Just let him have nowhere to vent his anger, otherwise it will appear that he is stingy. Since you have apologized, let's forget about Lingshan Douluo's matter. Ning Fengxi sat down on the sect leader's seat and said seriously, as for the other three, they all brought it upon themselves. First, Tang Hao killed Oslo, and my father to repay the debt, and killed Tang San is just the revenge of the Huang Dao team. Regarding this matter, the Holy Demon Crown swore not to pursue it any further. If you violate the martial soul oath, aren't you afraid that your inner demon will haunt you, and your martial soul will shatter and die? Tang Yuhua asked in confusion. For the sake of an os. Luo, you really have to do this? Tianlin sneered. Haha, if I take action, it won't be Tang San who dies first, but Tang Hao himself. My father-in-law just said that this is the revenge of the Imperial fighting team. With Tang Yuhua's wisdom, he immediately understood that, although Tang San died in front of Tianlin, it was not him who killed Tang San, but someone from Huang Dao's team. Indeed, except for Tianlin, everyone else was. If they were no match for Tang Hao, if they wanted revenge, they could only look for Tang San. Tang Yuhua didn't ask who the murderer was. She knew that Tianlin wouldn't tell, and there was no point in asking. Okay, it's reasonable for the Royal Dao team to kill Tang San. What about my second brother? They are no match for him. There will be no one else to kill him except you, right? And the reason why you killed my second brother was, besides us, what else can there be besides Luo's incident? Tang Hao, this is not the only way he can kill himself. Tang Yuhua, I don't believe you don't know what he did to help his son gather soul bones and go to the soul beast forest. He slaughtered soul beasts wantonly. This has seriously violated Kiki. The laws jointly promulgated by the big sect, Wuhan Palace and the two empires, let alone that he did not die in my hands. Even if I killed him with my own hands, it would still be reasonable, and legal. Tianlin said angrily, I can tell you that the cause of death was that after he was injured by a soul beast king in the Stardao forest, he did not dare to go there again, so he changed his direction to the far north. Unfortunately, there was also a soul beast king there. 60 the 90,000-year-old super ferocious beast, Snow Emperor, Ice Sky and Snow Girl, and the 390,000-year-old super ferocious beast, the Ice Emperor, Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion. They are the murderers. If you are not afraid of death, you can go and settle accounts with them. Ice Sky Snow Girl, Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion. Tang Yuhua was shocked that there were such terrifying soul beasts in the world. She did know about Tang Heio's massacre of soul beasts. If she was killed by the king of soul beasts because of this, then it was indeed natural to die, and even she couldn't say anything to refute it. As for why the last fierce son Douluo died, you were present that day, and I also answered you. Do you have anything else to ask? Tianlin looked at Tang Yuhua coldly. Point being stared at by a strong man like Tianlin. No matter how good-hearted Tang Yuhua was, he was still a little scared. He whispered, "No, thank you, His Majesty the Holy Demon Crown, for informing me that the elder was seriously injured. Yuhua needs to take him for treatment quickly. Sect Mastering, Your Majesty, have taken their leave." Tang Yuhua helped his eldest elder to leave the Qibao Glazed sect. Ning Fengzi smiled slightly, but he was justified in killing someone. His son-in-law was becoming more and more like him. Chapter 480 Tang Yuhua's Plan. Titan obtains the hidden weapon blueprints. After leaving Qibao Glazed sect, Tang Yuhua and Lingshan Douluo returned to Haoshan sect with the help of Meng Shenji and Bei Ocean Point. After that, the two education committee members said goodbye and left. Tang Yuhua couldn't hold it back any longer and started sobbing softly. No matter how much she understood the general situation, she was still just a woman. Her beloved second brother died, and her nephew also died. How could she not be sad? "Yuhua, what's wrong?" At this time, Tang Ziro led someone out of the sect point. As soon as she saw Tang Ziro, Tang Yuhua threw herself into his arms and cried, "Brother, the second brother is dead, and the mistress is also dead." "What did you say?" Tang Ziro was shocked. Unlike those elders, he valued brotherhood very much, and had never hated Tang Heo. Tang Yuhua conveyed to Tang Ziro everything she heard from Tianlin in the Qibao Glazed sect, and finally said bitterly, "Jun Tianlin shouldn't have lied. He was the one who killed them." "Why do you say that? If he didn't lie, wouldn't the murderer be someone else?" said the second elder. He could still remain calm. He didn't care whether Tang Heo or Tang San died, because he didn't admit that the two of them were the same. The two sect disciples, Tang Heo, probably couldn't get back the two sect inherited soul bones, which made him a little unhappy. Second elder, although he did not kill both of them with his own hands, he must have designed it. Tang Yuhua gritted his teeth. Needless to say, Tang San, there is no doubt that under his leadership, the rest of Huang Dao team were killed. Completed the interception on the way. As for the second brother, I even doubt that the king of soul beasts was deliberately attracted by Jun Tianlin. Otherwise, how could Jun Tianlin go to the far north with him by such a coincidence? And it is so big. Even if they went together, how could they say they would meet each other when they met? "You, Jun Tianlin, do you really think that I don't dare to kill you?" Tang Ziro punched the door frame angrily, and the 97th level of huge soul power shook the entire mountain range point except for the old sect master, who was so angry because of Tang Heo's incident and the persecution from Wuhan Palace. No one had ever seen Tang Ziro look so angry. Tang Yuhua hurriedly comforted him. "Brother, calm down and don't be impulsive. You may not be the king, Tianlin's opponent. Don't forget, the 7th elder can't even take one of his moves. HMPH. That's just because his master sword of destruction is very powerful. He has just broken through the title Douluo, so his level must not be too high. As long as I pay attention not to be hit by the sword of destruction, with my 97th level soul power, I will definitely be able to kill him." Tang Ziro said disdainfully. Point as a super Douluo, every level after level 95 is like a chasm, and he understands this very well. Okay, even if you can defeat Jun Tianlin, don't forget that the number of title Douluo in the Qibao Glazed sect is so large now. They have already surpassed our Haoshan sect, and today there is another one who can easily defeat the Great Elder. Demon Spear Douluo, not to mention Sword Douluo Chenzin. If you kill Jun Tianlin, the 7 treasures Glazed sect will come out in force, and then our Haoshan sect will be in danger of being destroyed. Tang Yuhua analyzed the pros and cons, and she knew it very well. Even if there is great hatred, now is not the time to avenge it. Damn. If my grandfather were still here, who would dare to offend my Haoshan sect? Now even a small 7 treasures glazed sect would dare to offend like this. Hearing this, Tang Xiao forced himself to calm down. After all, he is the leader of a sect, and his temperament is very high. Tang Hao was better. You are right. Now is not a good time for revenge, but I will never forget this hatred. I will make Tianlin die without a burial place. Tang Yuha nodded. Of course, I didn't say I won't take revenge, but you can't be impulsive. Today, there is only one force capable of avenging us from the 7 treasures glazed sect. It's better to use their power. You mean Wuhan Palace? Tang Xiao was stunned. He knew what Tang Yuhua wanted to say. No, the hatred between Wuhan Palace and us is far greater than that of the 7 treasures glazed sect. Even if I die, I will not follow. They cooperate. The sect master is right. Yuhua, how can you think of colluding with Wuhan Palace? The elders also disagreed. No matter what Tianlin did, he only killed 3 people, 2 of whom were still not recognized by the sect, but Wuhan Palace killed hundreds of people in their Haoshan sect back then, and even the old sect leader was killed because of Wuhan Palace. These elders also had several sons, brothers, and other relatives die at the hands of Wuhan Palace. It can be said that the hatred between Wuhan Palace and Haoshan sect cannot be wiped out even with all the power of the sea. Brother, please don't worry, elders. Of course I will not cooperate with Wuhan Palace. Wuhan Palace is also the target of our revenge, but their strength is far stronger than ours. Only the Qibao glazed sect can fight against it. Coincidentally, these both forces are also hostile, so I designed it to let them bite each other. At that time, when both forces are defeated, it is time for us to take revenge. Tang Yuhua's eyes were full of hatred. This elegant beauty showed such a look for the first time. The look on her face showed how much resentment she had hidden in her heart at this time. On the other side, after the 2 education committee members returned to the palace, they also reported Tang Xin and Tang Hao's affairs to Emperor Zhu Yi and Prince Zhu Beng. Lawless, Zhang Tianlin, Huang Dao team, Qibao glazed sect, you are all lawless, and you dare to intercept and kill the count of our empire. Emperor Zhu Yi was furious. The death of this father and son was a great loss to the empire. Brother Tang, you and I are sworn brothers, and I, Zhu Beng, swear here that I will avenge you one day. Zhu Beng shed a few cat tears. He was more angry than sad. The 2 war powers he originally believed to be in the future. His brother Tang Xin was killed by Tianlin, and his wife Xu Bing'er was taken away by Tianlin. At this moment, his hatred for Tianlin even exceeded Zuking and Wuhan Palace. If he was pretending to be sad, then the other person was really heartbroken. Master, you have been upright in your life. You have spared no effort to fight against the Wuhan Palace for the entire continent. The young master is also talented and pure. However, you have been poisoned by Zhang Tianlin. Tang cried loudly while scattering yellow paper towards the sky to see his master off. This is the only thing he, a slave, can do. After 3 days and 3 nights of wearing hemp and mourning, Tang came to a valley. This valley was where Tang Hao planted Yin. Before Tang Hao left, he told Tang to come and water Yin every once in a while. Tang never dares to neglect, and he will still do so in the future. The master and young master are dead, and taking care of the mistress is the responsibility of their clan from generation to generation from now on. This is a true master who has no worries. Even if he goes away, his wife will be taken care of by me. Arriving at a small wooden house, Tang began to sort out Tang Hao's relics. At this moment, he found a hidden compartment under Tang Hao's bed. He opened it with doubts and saw that there were many design drawings of hidden weapons inside. This is Buddha's angry Tang lotus, heavy rain pear blossom needle. Tang was overjoyed. It turned out that Tang Xin left the hidden weapon blueprints to Tang Hao. At first, he and Tang Xin originally wanted to recruit Lao Gao into the Tang family's army and then give him these hidden weapons to forge. However, when they went to Jingxin City, they found out that Lao Gao had actually been taken away by Tianlin. Fortunately, there are 3 great master craftsmen in the world. In addition to Lao Gao, he and Tang Hao are also the same. Tang can understand the reason why Tang Xin did not give him the blueprint of the hidden weapon. After all, they have not known each other for a long time and cannot fully trust him. Therefore, before Tang Xin left, it was handed over to Tang Heo for safekeeping. It was originally hoped that, while he was taking Xiao Wu to practice, Tang Heo would help him build as many soul bones as possible after collecting them. But he didn't expect that he would see the light of day again in the hands of Tai Tang today. Haha, with these, revenge is possible. Master, young master, don't worry. This old slave will inherit your legacy, light up the hidden weapons of Tang sect, and destroy the Qibao Glazed sect and Wuhan. I will avenge you. Chapter 481 Changes in the mainland situation and the opening of the founding ceremony of Wuhan Pala. One day later, news of the death of Tang Xin and Tang Heo was spread, and the Xiandao royal family ordered the whole city to mourn. They were showing their goodwill to the Haoshan sect. After all, these two people were originally the bridge between them and the Haoshan sect. Now, the bridge is broken, and they don't know how their cooperation with Haoshan sect will go in the future. For today's Xiandao Empire, the Haoshan sect is an indispensable force, because only they can provide the empire with title Douluo combat power of the remaining 7 treasures Glazed sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan. One had fallen out, and the other only had a title Douluo, who could barely protect himself at most, and couldn't find the strength to help them at all. The two brothers Tang Yuhua and Tang Xiao attended the funeral in person in Xiandao City. Although both of them had no bones left and could only be burned into ashes, they came to convey a message that they would not be affected by their deaths. Terminate cooperation with the Xiandao Empire. After all, both sides now have a common enemy. The first is Wuhan Palace, and the second is Qibao Glazed sect. They are both incomparable behemoths. Moreover, both parties speaking at the same time would definitely make the murderer pay the price. They did not clearly say who the murderer was. After all, they did not want to officially start a war with the Qibao Glazed sect. And they are unreasonable. Although both of them were designed to die by Tianlin, Huang Dao killed Tang Xin to avenge his brother. The soul beast killed Tang Heo. It was Tang Heo who slaughtered the soul beast first. They wanted to condemn Tianlin. Lindu has no reason. This is the feeling of swallowing with broken teeth. However, this incident also made Emperor Zhu Yi completely give up on the Qibao Glazed sect. In his opinion, this sect was too unruly and had no loyalty to the emperor at all. Out of fear, he could not condemn the Qibao Glazed sect, but he could use another method to suppress it, which was to vigorously support the Haoshan sect. The sect is the divine sect of protecting the country. From now on, all outstanding graduates from colleges in the empire will be given priority to join the Haoshan sect. Also for all sects that do business with the empire, except for the Haoshan sect and its affiliated sects, which are tax-free. All other sects have doubled their taxes. There are two purposes for doing this. First, it is not directly said that they are targeting the 7 treasures Glazed sect. After all, there are so many sects in the empire, all doubled. Why can the 7 treasures Glazed sect be alone? You are not the divine protector sect. Second, like Wuhan Palace, they began to force the other small sects that had not yet taken sides to take a standpoint. This policy of the Xiandao Empire has little impact on the wealthy Qibao Glazed sect, but it is a huge problem for those small forces with tight resources. For example, the original 4 single attribute clans completely collapsed due to the word poor. But while the empire gave you a big stick, it also gave you a sweet date. That is, you will be attached to the Haoshan sect. Not only will you not have to double the amount, you will not even have to pay the original amount, and whatever you earn will be yours. The Haoshan sect also stated that it would not restrict the freedom of affiliated sects, except when war comes and they need to fight for the sect. They will be autonomous at other times. These two items have made many people excited. There are only so many resources in the mainland, and small forces like them are already in short supply. It is not easy to train disciples, now that there are threats from the spirit all outside, and coercion and inducements from the empire within. We have to make compromises. In fact, there are still some small sects that are thinking about whether it is okay to rely on Qibao. After all, they are so rich. Even if the tax is doubled, the impact will not be big. But it was quickly rejected. No matter how much money there is, there will be a time when it will be used up. The empire is only doubling taxes now, and may not allow sects other than Haitian sect to do business in their territory in the future. And anyone with a discerning eye can see how dissatisfied the empire is with the Qibao Glazed sect. Today's Qibao Glazed sect has offended both Wuhan Palace and the empire. It can be said that it is the enemy of the whole world. They do not think that such a sect can continue to exist in the future. What should we do then? Go to Star Luo? I'm just afraid that the oppression will be even greater. Going to the Wuhan Palace is even more extreme. If you don't surrender, you will be destroyed. There is no freedom. In contrast, joining Haitian sect is actually the wisest choice. So, the big battle began. In just half a month, many forces joined the Haitian sect. The number of soul masters in the Haitian sect increased from less than 1,000 to 6,000, which was basically the same as the 7 treasure glazed sect. Zonkyping, and the number continues to increase. In fact, these guys don't know that the situation of being hostile to Wuhan Palace and Qiandao Empire at the same time is exactly what Ning Fengxi wants. The sect already has the power to compete with Wuhan Palace and the empire for hegemony, but in the eyes of the world, they have always been. If it is just a sect attached to the Qiandao Empire, it will be constrained in doing anything. If it suddenly appears to fight for world domination, many people will subconsciously think that the 7 treasures glazed sect is a traitor after all. The Qibao glazed sect belongs to the imperial power, which is a deep-rooted idea among many people. Ning Fengxi and Tianlin both care about reputation, and they absolutely do not want to be labeled as betrayers now, unknowingly, as Ning Fengxi deliberately competes with the Qiandao Empire again and again. People's understanding has changed little by little. The Qibao glazed sect is not affiliated with the empire, but independent of the empire and Wuhan Palace. Another major force besides. In this way, even if the Qibao glazed sect goes to fight for world hegemony, no one will think it's strange. Your spirit all can fight for it, the 2 empires can fight for it, but I, the 7 treasure glazed tile sect, can't fight for it. This continent does not belong exclusively to any one person. Anyone who has the ability can fight for it. Besides, it doesn't matter if the whole world is an enemy. Which force is competing for hegemony? For Wuhan Palace, the 2 empires and Qibao glazed sect are all enemies. For Qiandao Empire, Star Luo Empire, Wuhan Palace and Qibao glazed sect are all enemies. Zhangyi is in the same hostile state. Everyone covets this continent, and is the enemy of the whole world, not to mention the eldest brother, let alone the second brother. Today's continent has undergone a sudden change. Except for the children, who are still studying in the academy, there are basically no free soul masters in the wild. Wuhan Palace, Qibao glazed sect, Haitian sect and the 2 great empires have almost divided up all the continent's free spirit masters. The power of the soul master among them, Wuhan Palace accounts for 70%, the 2 empires account for 20%, and the remaining Qibao glazed sect and Haitian sect share 10%. Of course, the Qibao glazed sect's strength is only apparent. In other words, all the forces that should be integrated have been completely integrated. And the Continental War is probably about to begin. What kicked off this event was a major operation in Wuhan Palace, the founding ceremony of the country. In fact, this ceremony had been prepared for a long time, but because Bibi Dan was injured some time ago, and it took a long time to recover, it was postponed until today. Today's Wuhan Palace is very lively, and all the people in Wuhan city are gathered in front of the square of the Pope's palace. The group headed by them are the masters of various martial soul temples, the sect masters of various major sects, and the kings of many affiliated kingdoms and principalities. Amidst the cheers of the crowd, the gorgeously dressed Pope, His Majesty Bibi Dan, led the elders of Wuhan Palace and the 2 saints out of the Pope's palace. Bibi Dan was extraordinarily beautiful today, and everyone's eyes were attracted to her, and starting from today, she will also become the first empress of Douluo Continent. Chapter 482 Martial Spirit Empire. Wuhan Palace. Is it finally time to establish a country? Ning Fengxi put down the information in his hands without much surprise on his face. He had expected this, and even Wuhan Palace's founding action was slightly later than he expected. It's probably related to Bibi Dan's injury not long ago. Fengxi, what do you think the Wuhan Palace will do next? Durang asked. Pointing Fengzi looked at the map on the wall. Next, they will definitely start a war on both fronts of Xiandao and Xingluo. On Xiandao's side, they will use the Balik Kingdom as a stepping stone to gradually advance inland, while on the Xingluo side, they will use that. To put it bluntly, if I were the Pope, I might massacre Jingxin City. Why? Durang Guan Yang was shocked. He slaughtered the city as soon as he came up. Do you want to play such a big role? There are 3 reasons. First, the Wuhan Empire is a church-based country. One of the characteristics of the church is that impure beliefs are heretics and will be punished with capital punishment. They will definitely kill anyone who does not respect them. Second, compared to the Xiandao Empire, Xingluo has a very obvious characteristic. That is, their character is tough enough, and they would rather die than surrender, so massacre is the best deterrent. Thirdly, Jingxin City is Xingluo's weapons supply station, and the war is about resources. The competition is about comprehensive national strength, and weapons are a very important one. As the saying goes, the more help Jingxin City helps the Xingluo army, the more it deserves to be destroyed. So the little genius back then would take precautions against it. Yuan, I hope his efforts back then were useful. Ning Fengzi sighed. Sect. Master, what should we do now? Yin Yang asked. Ning Fengzi thought for a while and said, my 7 treasures glazed sect has a special position. We are in the hinterland of the Xiandao Empire. The mainland war does not involve us for the time being. Don't get involved too early. We will wait until Rangrang Hangjin and the others come back. It's a pity. What if the mainland war were to come a year later, or if Xiaoshan had left seclusion a year earlier, I would have sent Xiaoshan to assassinate Zhuai Zubeng and support Zup to ascend to power. The Haoshan sect would not be able to stop Xiaoshan. When the time comes, Xiandao the empire will be under the control of our Qibao glazed sect, but now, the Xiandao empire cannot be in chaos, especially Zhuai Zubeng Zhelang and the other 3 must not die too early, otherwise the spirit empire will put them down as quickly as possible. Fengzi, I don't think it's so troublesome at all. I estimate that the old swordsman will be out of seclusion in a year at most, and the old poisoner has already been at level 94, and is now in seclusion to hit level 95. If the 2 of them break through again, do you know what it means? Durang said eagerly, with the combined strength of these 2 people, Xiaoshan and you, the army of 1 million people is vulnerable. We can directly deal with Xiandao and Xingluo, and then show off the Holy Dragon sect in Balak. A hidden child will be enough to compete with Wuhan Palace. When Xiaoshan makes another breakthrough, Bibi Dankai and Douluo combined will not be his opponent. In less than 3 years, this continent will belong to our 7 treasures glazed sect. The power of 4 people can push the continent across the country. It sounds very enjoyable. Ning Fengzi smiled slightly at first, and then suddenly changed his tone and said, but the more enjoyable it is, the less likely it is a good thing. Uncle Bones, what you said, it is indeed feasible. Relying on force is the most efficient and best way to achieve the best results. However, do you know how many people will die? Not thousands, but millions. Yin Yang shook his head. Xiaoshan would not agree. Even if he went to the killing city, it only allowed him to practice the realm of the god of killing. He still doesn't like excessive killing. This has never changed. No. One will die in a war. The most correct way is to end it as soon as possible. Durang was not convinced. He was loyal to the 7 treasures glazed sect, and he was the most utilitarian among all the titled Douluo in the sect. When he thought of the 7 treasures glazed sect, he couldn't hold back his excitement at being able to become a true mainland leader. His martial spirit has the attribute of death, a bone dragon from hell. For the sake of the unification of the continent, it doesn't matter if some people die. As long as the people who die are not his important people, he won't care too much at all. Uncle Goo, do you know that in a war against 10,000 enemy troops, you can win with 20,000, but you still have to send 50,000 or even 100,000? Ning Fengzi asked, and Gurang was shaken. Shaking his head, he continued, it is precisely to reduce casualties, not only to reduce our own casualties, but also to force the enemy to surrender with absolute power. No matter how powerful Xiaoshan and the others are, there are only 3 of them. The enemy will take chances, especially the tough-minded crossing Eluo and the powerful Wuhandian. They can't do it without breaking their heads and bleeding. They will give up easily, but by the time they realize they can't do it, the continent will be littered with corpses, and it will be too late. Therefore, the only way to reduce the number of killings is to gather strength and go all out. When we have an army of 1 million, nearly 20 titled Douluo, and even 2 or 3 gods, Chai and Dao Xingluo won't even have to fight. They will surrender on their own. As for the Wuhan Palace, even if there is a battle, it will only be a collision between a few high-end combatants, and the casualties will be minimized. Ziotian. And I continue to gather the power of the army and soul masters, and gather the mainland geniuses, just for that moment. You are right, there is no undead person in a war, but the number of deaths must be controlled within a minimum range. It is the duty of those of us who are striving for hegemony, isn't it? The unification of the continent is for the better development of the continent, but if the population is reduced sharply, and the continent withers for the sake of continental unification, then it is completely putting the cart before the horse. Go. Wrong side. Oh, that's all. I will never think as much as you and Ziotian. I'll just do what you said. By the way, where is Ziotian? Ning. Fengzi smiled mysteriously. He said he was going to pick up Rangrang and the others, but if my guess is correct, before that, he was probably bored and joining in the fun. Ning. Fengzi looked into the distance. That direction was Wuhan City Point as the founding ceremony of the People's Republic of China was about to begin. There were more and more people in the square, and all the soul masters from the major Wuhan branch halls and the main Wuhan hall were standing in front of the square point. Bibi Dan glanced at the sea of people in front of him with a smile on his face. The many high-level soul masters in front of him were all the power of their Wuhan palace, and they would work hard for their Wuhan palace. To unify the continent. The Qibao glazed sect is currently only able to match Wuhan Palace in terms of its highest end combat power, and the overall strength gap is still very large. There was one figure among them that really made her unhappy. On the left side of the square, a young man was leaning against the wall, watching the founding ceremony. Hey, isn't that guy Tianlin? A Wuhan temple master asked doubtfully. He had seen Tianlin during the Soul Master Academy competition, and would never admit his mistake. However, Qibao Glazed Sect and Wuhan Dan is the biggest opponent. Is it really okay to show up so arrogantly? That's right, it's him. You stupid guy, you really don't want your life. How dare you break into our base camp alone? Salus, the master of Xiandao Temple, confirmed. He didn't know whether Tianlin was ignorant or had a big heart. Today all the masters of Wuhan Palace are gathered here. Mr. Salus, it is very impolite for you to speak like this. I remember that His Majesty the Pope invited the soul masters from all over the world to come and watch the ceremony. I'm also a soul master, so why not come here? Are you questioning His Majesty the Pope's order? Tianlin has such a sharp ear now. How can Salus, who speaks dirty words, be able to hide it from his ears? In fact, Tianlin came here just out of curiosity. He had just returned from the Sunset Forest and prepared some greeting gifts for Xianheng and the others after a long separation. He also replenished the Holy Spirit energy for the Blue Silver King. The Blue Silver King's current cultivation level, it has recovered to about 70,000 years, and the day of returning to the Blue Silver Emperor is not far away. The replenished Holy Spirit energy this time was enough for him. What Tianlin promised him back then has been completed, and he will owe him nothing from now on. Next, he was preparing to go to Poseidon Island. On the way, he heard the news about the founding of Wuhan Palace, so he wanted to see the scene and came over. Anyway, he was on his way. You. Salus pointed at Tianlin angrily, turned around and knelt down to Bibidang and others. His Majesty the Pope, fellow elders, Tianlin not only despises my spirit hall, but also sows discord here. Subordinates, I request that he be killed to rectify the majesty of our Wuhan Palace. Bibi Dan glanced at Salus and said, okay, then come on, me. Salus was stunned. He was no match for Tianlin. What was the difference between Bibidang letting him go alone and sending him to his death? Don't you dare? Then shut up. Tianlin is right. My order is for all the soul masters from all over the world to come and watch the ceremony. He is also a soul master and is also invited. Why not come here? Today is the founding ceremony of my Wuhan Palace. It is not suitable to see blood, and besides, The visitor is a guest, so I will put aside any personal grudges. Bibi Dong said coldly. Yes. Salas hurriedly retreated. As long as he was not allowed to deal with Tianlin alone, he would lose face. Bibi Dong was actually helpless. Didn't you want to kill Tianlin? Of course I want to, but the problem is that I can't kill them. With Tianlin's current strength, even if she and Douluo attack together, they won't be able to kill him. If he wants to leave, no one in Wuhan Palace can stop him. So, as long as Tianlin didn't cause trouble today, she didn't want to bother soon. With the sound of several loud horns, the founding ceremony officially began. Bibi Dong took a few steps forward and opened her arms. Thank you all for coming to participate in the founding ceremony of our Wuhan Palace today. You are all the elites of our Wuhan Palace. The development of Wuhan Palace is inseparable from your efforts. 4. The long-term peace and stability of the Douluo Continent. The Wuhan Palace is now established here in compliance with the destiny of heaven and renamed the Wuhan Empire. I will serve as the first empress of the empire. From now on, I will be in charge of all soul masters in the world. All soul masters must obey my martial arts empire. Anyone who disobeys the orders of the Soul Empire will be regarded as heretics and will be killed without mercy, except for Tianlin. Everyone knelt on the ground. Whether it was the sect leader or the king of the kingdom, they all shouted loudly, "Long live your majesty, long live Wuhan Palace." Bibi Dong gently raised her hand, and the square instantly became quiet. From this, it can be seen that Bibi Dong's majesty in Wuhan Palace has been deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. Douluo once said to Rinxu that Bibi Dong's influence now even exceeds his, which is not an empty talk. Bibi Dong continued, we now appoint Ulina as the Holy Lady of our Spirit Empire. She has the same status as the Crown Prince. She is the first heir to the empire, and has the right to mobilize all the spirit masters in the empire, except the consecration hall and the elder hall, who Lina knelt down in front of Bibi Dong and accepted the canonization. Yan and Ziyu below were both extremely happy. From now on, Lina's power in Wuhan Hall was astonishing. To put it simply, everyone except titled Douluo had to obey her orders. Nana, you are already far ahead of me, but don't worry, one day, I will be the only person qualified to stand by your side. Yan looked at Ulina affectionately, with eyes full of hatred. He glanced at Tianlin with interest and swore in his heart, I will kill him first, then take his head, and propose marriage to you openly. Tianlin was a little surprised. He thought that after the hatred between Bibi Dong and Rinxu gradually resolved, Rinxu would be the heir, but it turned out to be Lina. After giving Rinxu a confused look, Rinxu noticed Tianlin's gaze, smiled tenderly at him, and took a few steps forward to kneel in front of Bibi Dong. In addition, I will also appoint Rinxu as the empire's ruling elder, who will be responsible for clearing the empire of rebellion and granting privileges. He can behead the faint kings at the top and the sycophants at the bottom. When something happens, he can behead first and then report later. Bibi Dong was canonized again. It turns out that Rinxu wanted the position of the Judgment Elder just like in the original work, but she had no choice in the original work. Bibi Dong never considered giving her the position of saint, but this time, it was Bibi Dong who proposed it, but was rejected by herself. Because she had promised not to compete for the position of saint again, in order to show her determination to Bibi Dong. Rinxu, like Tianlin, always kept her word, and even if Bibi Dong offered it to her, she would not regret it. The status of the adjudicating elder is also very high, no less than that of the saint. Back then, Douluo served as the adjudicating elder, after passing his position as pope to his son Zongji. Long live your majesty, or 1,000 years old the adjudicator, or 1,000 years old the saint. A roaring sound like a mountain roaring, and a tsunami sounded again in the city. The people in Wuhan Palace have a really strong sense of belonging. After canonizing the two main figures, the next step is to canonize the rest of the founding heroes, including the original kings. The scope of the Wuhan Empire is based on most of the kingdoms and principalities of the two original empires. The horizontal link between the two empires completely cut off the connection between the two empires. With the combination of more than 10 kingdoms and principalities, the total area of the Wuhan Empire was not inferior to either of the two empires after the split. From the geographical point of view, the Wuhan Empire is obviously extremely unfavorable. There is the Xiandao Empire in the north and the Star Luo Empire in the south. However, with the strength of the Wuhan Empire, I'm afraid that it will expand in both directions at the same time. In a few years, both sides will the land area of a great empire will shrink significantly. At the last moment of the founding ceremony, Bibi Dong raised her arm and said, "No one can stop the pace of my spirit empire. Please join me to create a new era for the spirit empire." The Wuhan Empire was officially established. Chapter 483 Tianlin and Qin Rixu's last meeting before the war. The founding ceremony of the Wuhan Palace was over. At this time, the Wuhan city had become the capital of the Wuhan Empire, and everyone in the square had dispersed. Qin Rixu and Tianlin were the only two people sitting on the steps. Qin Rixu whispered, "Xiaoshan, why did you come here suddenly? Is it because you are brave enough to trouble my mother? I'm not that boring and stingy, and I didn't cause any trouble just now, except for Salah's provocative reply, but I quietly watched your ceremony until the end." Tianlin said with a smile, "I originally said I thought that you would be the one to become the saint of the spirit empire, so I came here specifically to witness and congratulate you, but I didn't expect that you gave up the position of saint in the end and chose to serve as the judgment elder." Qin Rixu's expression changed. "Xiaoshan, do you know what elder judgment does?" "I know that I will probably be the first to kill all the enemies who are enemies of Wuhan Palace. In fact, I understand that you are not only motivated by Bibi Dong's promise, but also hope that you can face me directly in the future, right?" Tianlin asked, looking at Qin Rixu. "Yes, if we must go to war, I only hope that I will kill you with my own hands, or that you will kill me with your own hands. I don't want to die in the hands of others." Qin Rixu rested her head on Tianlin's shoulder. "Didn't you say that, even if we are at war with each other, because of our positions, we are just enemies, not enemies? Xiaoshan, if one day I'm killed by you, I will not hate you. Maybe that ending is not good for me. Not bad. What a twist of fate, Sister Zhu. I helped you resolve the hatred between you and your mother, but also strengthened your determination to fight for her." Tianlin turned around, hugged Qin Rixu into his arms, and gently caressing her back. "Goodbye, Sister Zhu. This is the last time I come to see you as a friend. From now on, when we meet on the battlefield, we will show no mercy." Qin Rixu hugged Tianlin with her backhand and nodded with tears in her eyes. "Goodbye, Xiaoshan." Bibi Dong stood on the balcony of the Pope's palace and looked at the two children hugging each other below. She knew very well that they were saying their final farewells with the founding of the Wuhan Empire. The mainland war is about to begin. Even Bibi Dong is fully prepared. Within 3 months, he will definitely capture more than 30% of the territory of each of the two empires. As an important figure on both sides of the enemy, they can no longer meet, except on the battlefield. She sighed silently. They were so similar to herself and Yu Xiao gang back then. The difference was that, if the two of them met, it would be inevitable for them to fall in love, but absolutely no one would betray their position. In this regard, it was better than her. She was much stronger back then, but she wanted to betray the spirit all for the sake of the master. After a long time, Tianlin let go of Qin Rixu, whispered a few words in his ear, then stood up with his sword and left Wuhan City. In fact, he had another purpose here, which was to tell Qin Rixu some things about the evil sword immortal that she could know. After all, that guy must be hiding in the spirit hall. Tianlin was worried that Qin Rixu was being plotted, and although he couldn't reveal everything, there was no harm in letting her keep an eye on her. Qin Rixu stared blankly at Tianlin's leaving figure. During the Qibao Glazed sect, when she was almost killed by Chen Xin's sword, it was Tianlin who created an ice wall to protect her. In the Great Stardao Forest, when she was about to use the Angel's Edict to kill those ferocious beasts, it was also Tianlin suddenly rescued her. Now, he went deep into the enemy camp, just to warn himself to be careful, because both sides were obviously enemies. In fact, Qin Rixu knew very well that, even if their Wuhan palace was really defeated in the future, Tianlin would definitely try his best to protect himself. There is no need to be merciful when meeting on the battlefield. This guy is just saying he is cruel. Qin Rixu knew Tianlin too well. Qin Rixu, whose heart was filled with emotion, didn't notice that a red flower was slowly blooming in her arms. Although it's still not possible now, this flower will definitely bloom one day. After Tianlin left Wuhan City, he flew towards Poseidon Island. If his guess was correct, Ningrangrang and others would most likely be around the 5th to 6th exam point. He calculated very accurately. At this time, where the 7 sacred pillars of Poseidon were located, the 5th test was in full swing. Since the original work required Ningrangrang's assistance in every game, the assessment was conducted one by one, but this time it was different. They could start everyone's assessment at the same time. In addition to fighting against the 3 Douluo of Heilong, Hailiang and Heiwen, they are too strong. Even if Ningrangrang and Zhu Zuking join forces, it is estimated that they will be difficult to win. Therefore, these 3 have to use the method of the original work, with one person going up to consume them first. Let Ningrangrang go up and pick up the leaks and use tricks to get through. Otherwise it would be very difficult to wear 7 at once. Therefore, there are only 4 battles open at the same time. Yu Xianheng vs. C Spear Douluo, Xiamo vs. C Ghost Douluo, Haima Douluo, Huanyan vs. C Girl Douluo, and Dugu Yan vs. C Star Douluo. As for Oscar and Oslo, they have to wait until Ningrangrang defeats Hailiang before they can challenge Hailiang and Heilang respectively. At this moment, the winner between Yu Xianheng and C Spear Douluo was about to be decided. The 6th soul skill, the turbulent waves destroy it. The 6th soul skill, Thunder Judgment. The 2 people who had activated their martial spirit true forms were constantly confronting each other in the sea. C Spear Douluo rolled up 1,000 waves with his spear, but was instantly annihilated by Yu Xianheng's violent thunder. The situation was a bit unexpected. C Spear Douluo actually completely falling downwind. In fact, in terms of strength C Spear Douluo was naturally much stronger, but he was restricted to only use 60% of his strength. Although he still surpassed Yu Xianheng, Xianheng was no longer without a chance of winning. The most important thing is that the attributes are incompatible. In order to win the battle quickly, C Spear Douluo jumped into the sea within the sea at the beginning of the battle. His domain was called the inner domain, and its characteristic was that it could absorb the power of the sea to strengthen itself. Originally, this was an extremely powerful area in the sea, but the problem was that Yu Xianheng's martial spirit was the blue electric Tyrannosaurus Rex. When the raging thunder and lightning encountered the sea water, its power suddenly increased dramatically. Especially Yu Xianheng's 5th soul skill, Death Thunderstorm. The dirty water thunder was actually liquid. After flowing into the sea within the sea, it spread rapidly and turned a large area of the sea into pitch black. Moreover, Silence Douluo's inner domain cannot continue to draw power from it. After all, no matter how much water dirty thunder resembles water, its essence is still thunder and lightning, and the inner realm is naturally useless to thunder and lightning. It's really abominable. A little soul saint actually pushed me to this point. C Spear Douluo was furious. Take the move, kid. If you block this move, you will win. But if you can't block it, you will win. Death. The 9th soul skill, Annihilation. The Sigh of the Sea. Finally, I've come up with my trump card. Yu Xianheng said with a confident smile. Then I won't be polite. The soul bone skill can break through the sky with thunder. Chapter 484 Thunder Dragon vs. Sea Spear. She Family Brothers vs. Sea Ghost and Sea Horse. All of Yu Xianheng's electricity rushed towards his arm. This is the family soul bone that Yu Yuanzhen gave him before he came to Poseidon Island. Just like the Haotian sect's inherited soul bone on Tang Hao's body, it is a precious soul bone that is only passed down to direct heirs and has a lifespan of up to 60,000 years. This soul bone skill, Sky Thunder Sky Break, can gather thunder and lightning all over the body and condense it into a huge thunder arrow. It can maximize the attack power, speed and piercing power of thunder attributes. It is currently the strongest attack power of Xianheng. Trick point. This strike will determine the outcome. Go. Yu Xianheng shouted angrily and shot out the thunder arrow. On the other side, Sea Spear Douluo also gathered the power of the endless sea into his spear, and the 2 huge forces collided in the middle of the sea. The agitated power spread everywhere. The power of the sea moved downwards, Countless huge whirlpools formed on the sea surface. The power of thunder shot straight into the sky, and several large holes were torn out in the clouds. The two sides were evenly matched at first, but as time passed, Douluo's sea spear was slowly pushed back by the thunder and lightning. What? Douluo was shocked. Nirvana and the Sigh of the Sea were his strongest skills. Even if he could only use the 6th level of power, the power was far greater than the 8th soul skill of ordinary Soul Douluo. Now he is actually at a disadvantage in a duel with a Soul Saint's Soul Bone skill. You fell into the trap, Your Majesty. Sea Spear. Yu Xianheng said with a slight smile. How about it? My Northern Cangton is pretty good, isn't it? Northern Cangton. Does it mean this Black Thunder? Douluo finally noticed at this moment that the Black Thunder all over the sea not only blocked his inner domain, but also had other effects. His power, it was actually sucked away by these Black Thunders. It turns out that it's not that the other party has become stronger, but that he has become weaker. Haha, you're a good boy. You were planning the battle from the beginning. I lost this battle. Douluo admitted defeat calmly. With his strength greatly reduced, he would no longer be Yu Xianheng's opponent if he continued to fight. Yu Xianheng nodded. Senior, let's withdraw our forces at the same time. But, after all, it was just a test, and it would be unavoidable to accidentally hurt the other side. Both sides dissipated the soul power at the same time. The sea spear was retracted, the thunder and lightning also dissipated, and the sea within the sea returned to calm. Yu Xianheng, if you pass the 5th of the 6 black level exams, your soul power will be increased by 1 level as a reward. It is currently level 80. Yu Xianheng finally reached the realm of Contra, but it was a pity that he had already received a god-given soul ring once before. He could not get another god-given soul ring until he passed the 6th test. Level 80, not bad. With such strength at such a young age, he deserves to be the direct heir of the 3 sects on the Douluo Continent. Douluo praised him. Senior is overrated. If it weren't for the fact that Senior can only use 60% of his strength, and Xianheng also has attribute advantages, Xianheng would definitely lose. HMPH, I'm a titled Douluo, and you're just a soul saint. I can't beat you even with 60% of my strength. What else is there to say? You go. I'm going back to practice. Today's defeat made Douluo somewhat unhappy. He wanted to go back and work hard to cultivate to the 95th level. If he were a Super Douluo, let alone 60% of his strength, even if he only used 40%, he would not be defeated today. Wait a minute. Senior. Rong has to complete the 5th Poseidon test. Senior, please accept my challenge. Ning Rong suddenly stood up and asked for a fight. Douluo glanced at Ning Rong in surprise and then understood. Haha, I see. If you use this tricky method to pass the Poseidon test, Lord Poseidon will probably not be too satisfied. There is nothing we can do about it. I was an auxiliary soul master until I was 17 years old. My experience in becoming a battle soul master is too short. Even with Yuking's help, I can only pass the test of the last 4 titled Douluo at most. Rong has no confidence in you. Ning Rong said respectfully. Furthermore, if you fail the test, does it matter whether Lord Poseidon is satisfied or not? That's right. No matter what the means, the most important thing is to pass the test. Douluo nodded. Then let's get started. I accept your challenge. In front of the Sealant Speller, the battle resumed. In fact, the outcome of this battle was already very obvious. Sealant Douluo had just fought with Yu Xianheng and almost consumed more than 70% of his soul power, and now Cangton in the north had the negative effects have not been lifted yet. At this time, there is no way that he can be the enemy of Ning Rong and ZHU's Yuking point elsewhere. The combat format is also very good. Point in front of the Seahorse Sacred Pillar. Seahorse Douluo was joining forces with the Sea Ghost Douluo who had come over to fight against the Shi family brothers. They could only use 60% of their strength to fight against these two idiots, but it was extremely difficult because the Two turtle shells facing them who had activated their martial souls were too hard to break their defenses. The Shi family brothers who had eaten the Zuanwu golden pill had a defense power of the same level that far exceeded the diamond mammoth of the elephant armor sect and the plate armor rhinoceros of the Yuzi clan point. And under the suggestions of Tianlin and Qinming, their soul skills are also different from the original work. In the original work, these two guys also have the powerful attack soul skill of temporarily taking off their armor and attacking with all their strength. But now, these two guys are just pure for defense. Even if there is an attack skill like Turtle God Impact, it is only for additional effects. Turtle God Impact can forcefully stun the opponent. In fact, it is more auxiliary than attack. One of the two has increased physical defense and special defense to the extreme, while the other has increased defense and added a very terrifying abnormal status resistance. C. Ghost Douluo's attack power is not strong. His fighting style is all kinds of abnormal states, and he is restrained by Qibao. Of course, their combat ability will not be weakened because of pure defense. In fact, these two guys can deal with most of the enemies together. Tianlin has played games for so many years, so he still doesn't know how powerful the counter-attack can be. Seahorse Douluo's various boxing and soul skills have powerful physical attack power, but every time he hits the stone ground turtle shell, part of it will be rebounded. He is injured by his own fist, which is really helpless several times. He wanted to use 100% of his strength to smash the turtle shell directly, but he would never disobey Lord Poseidon's order. See? Ghost, if we can't drag it out like this, let's use the 9th soul skill to compete with them. Seahorse Douluo suggested. C. Ghost Douluo nodded. Okay, the 9th soul skill, Minxing Bilosha. The 9th soul skill, the sky-shattering tornado Nirvana fist. The 2 9th soul skills come out at the same time, and the outcome depends on this, brother. One is an attack containing terrifying poison, and the other is a super physical attack. The 6th soul ring suggested to us by Ocean can be used. Qibao said with a smile. That's right. I'll resist Qibao fist, and you can ward off the poison. Qibao had already started to take action. Upon seeing this, Qibao followed immediately, and their 6th soul rings flashed at the same time. Qibao, the 6th soul skill, equal pain. Qibao, the 6th soul skill, turtle shell, magic reflection. Qibao's pain equalization is aimed at attack skills. Whether it is a physical attack or an energy attack, it can divide the power of the opponent's attack into 2 parts. One part is directed at oneself, and the other part is equally divided among the opponents. As for Qibao's 6th soul skill, when he is in an abnormal state, he can bounce the state back to his opponent. I saw Seahorse Douluo's fist force suddenly split in 2, and one punch hit the stone ground tortoise shell. However, with his defensive power, such an attack with half the power would not cause any serious problems, but the other half would be a problem. He didn't hit Seahorse Douluo, but hit Sea Ghost Douluo. What? Sea Ghost Douluo was caught off guard and was knocked away by a bang punch, hitting the Seahorse Sacred Pillar. Sea Ghost. Seahorse Douluo originally wanted to catch him, but at this moment, his feet were covered with terrifying poisonous mist. Graphite reflected Sea Ghost Douluo's poisonous mist back to him. Unlike Sea Ghost Douluo, he is resistant to poison. Inhaling the poisonous mist, Seahorse Douluo felt that all the strength in his body was being lost, and he was dizzy. Especially his mental strength was declining very quickly. If this continued, he would completely pass out. The winner was decided, and at the last moment, the 2 Douluo surrendered. Black light descended. Stone. Grinding graphite. If you pass the 5th of the 5 black level examinations, your soul power will increase by 1 level. Since you have completed all 5 black level examinations, you will receive an additional reward of increasing your soul power by 1 level. The current level is 80, and you will be granted black level permissions on Poseidon Island. Order give God a soul ring. Chapter 485. The attribute power of the Ice Fire Jade Scale Dragon. Ningrang Grang used Trickster Pa. Jade Scale Poison. The 3rd soul skill, Devour. The soul bone skill, Devour. In front of the Starfish Sacred Pillar, Douluo Yan and Starfish Douluo were engaged in a poison-eating battle. After Douluo Yan's martial soul evolved, her poison had far surpassed that of Qibao during the Soul Saint period. Even a titled Douluo would not dare to use his body to attack her, but the starfish Douluo she met today has the same ability, to swallow poison as the porpoise Douluo of the Wuhan Palace, and the third soul skill and the soul bone skill are both swallowing. If both are used together, Douluo Yan's poison will be it's of no use now. Douluo Yan was a little anxious. The only way to defeat this kind of opponent was to fight the opponent, but the problem was that the opponent was a titled Douluo. Although it is said that the strength is limited to 60%, this means that all soul skills are used with 60% of the power. The depth of the soul power remains unchanged. How can she, a mere soul saint, compete with a titled Douluo in terms of consumption? Damn it, I won't admit defeat. Soul bone skills, poisonous rain. Douluo Yan's forehead flashed with light, and the sky was suddenly filled with dark clouds. Purple-black raindrops fell in patter-patter, and wherever the raindrops touched, they were corroded by the terrifying poison. This is Douluo Yan's soul skill with the largest attack range. Of course, the consumption is also extremely intense, almost consuming half of her strength. Starfish Douluo's martial spirit is said to be a starfish, but it actually looks like a big octopus. Especially after he activated his martial spirit's true form, it has as many as 100 tentacles. Now that these tentacles are corroded by raindrops, Douluo Yan smiles, as if he is sure of victory. Starfish Douluo smiled and said, I really didn't expect that you have a soul skill with such a wide attack range. It has indeed exceeded the limit that I can swallow. Unfortunately, it is useless to me. The fifth soul skill is regeneration. New tentacles quickly grew from Sea-Star Douluo's corroded tentacles. Douluo Yan's ultimate move, which used up nearly half of his soul power, was completely ineffective against Sea-Star Douluo. At this time, all the tentacles of Sea-Star Douluo rushed towards Douluo Yan. Douluo Yan had just consumed too much, and could not react at all. His hands, feet, neck, and waist were all tightly bound by the tentacles. It's over, I can't move at all now. Because his throat was strangled, it was difficult for Douluo Yan to even breathe at this time. Admit defeat, little girl. If you admit defeat, I will let you go. Sea-Star Douluo advised. In the assessment, even if I kill you, I have not violated Lord Poseidon's rules. If you don't admit defeat, you will be suffocated and mentally prepared to die. I will never admit defeat. How could Douluo Yan give up so easily? In terms of persistence, she was one of the best in the Imperial fighting team. Okay, you have used up your last chance, so just accept death. The ninth soul skill, gravity, ebbs and flows. Haixing Douluo's martial spirit became bigger and bigger, and a huge one appeared in the center of Haixing Douluo's martial spirit. The black hole sucked Douluo Yan in completely. This is Sea-Star Douluo's most powerful soul control skill. Those who are sucked in here will have their vitality, soul power, and mental power quickly sucked away by Sea-Star Douluo. If he had super attack power, he might still have a chance to rush out, but at this time, Douluo Yan's limbs were still tied by the tentacles, and there was nothing he could do. Compared with other sacred pillar guardians, Sea-Star Douluo's soul power is not too strong, only ranking second to last. But in terms of difficulty to deal with, he ranks among the best. The reason is very simple, because he is a control type. The remaining half of Douluo Yan's soul power was being sucked away at an extremely fast speed. At this moment, Douluo Yan suddenly laughed. Starting from her arms, the tentacles tied to her were either frozen or burned, and she was immediately liberated. This is such a powerful power of ice and fire. Isn't this girl's martial spirit a jade-scaled poisonous dragon? How can she have such powerful attribute power? Starfish Douluo asked in confusion. Douluo Yan smiled lightly and said, haha, under the starfish crown, you fell into the trap. I showed weakness to the enemy before, and did not show the full extent of my martial spirit. In fact, my martial spirit is an ice fire jade-scaled dragon. Over the years, in addition to poison, I have also practiced the power of ice and fire. Now my soul power also contains incomparable cold and heat. Do you still feel good after absorbing so much of my soul power? Oops. Starfish Douluo was shocked, and then he realized that he could no longer mobilize the soul power in his body. As long as he used it, he would feel like he was in a blazing fire or in an ice hell. Even though Douluo Yan had absorbed so much soul power, He was still almost in full condition, but the problem was that no matter how deep the soul power was, it was meaningless if he couldn't use it. Broken. Douluo Yan still has about 20% of his soul power left in his body, which is enough point. No matter how powerful the 9th soul skill is, it is not indestructible if it loses the support of soul power. Douluo Yan forcibly broke out of Starfish Douluo's gravitational space, the 3rd soul skill, Jade Scales and Purple Poison. Then he used all the remaining soul power to spray out Jade Scales and Purple Poison point. At this time, C-Star Douluo was unable to mobilize his soul power to use the devouring trick, and even the muscles everywhere in his body were frozen by Douluo Yan's ice soul power, making it difficult to move. He could only watch the terrifying green scales and purple poison spray at him point with the poison spreading throughout the Starfish Holy Land. This test has ended. Douluo Yan passed the 5th of the 5 black level exams, and his soul power was increased by 1 level. Since all 5 black level exams were completed, he was given an additional reward of 1 level of soul power. The current level is 81. He was given to Poseidon Island black level authority, order a god bestowed soul ring. After exhausting all her soul power, Douluo Yan finally passed the test smoothly. She knew that she had taken some tricks. If C-Star Douluo could use all his strength, the moment he acquired the 9th soul skill, his life force would be sucked dry. Titled Douluo is indeed very powerful. Her victory was very thrilling. Point after the assessment, Douluo Yan suppressed the poison in his body for C-Star Douluo. As for why it was not removed immediately, it was of course because of Ning Rangrang. Point at this time, Ning Rangrang happened to be walking towards here with Zhu Zuking. She had just easily defeated C-Spear Douluo, and this time her target was Starfish Point. There was actually no need to fight this battle, because at this time, C-Star Douluo had the power of ice and fire in his body and was poisoned, so the winner could be decided in only 10 seconds, based on the information about the 7C Douluo, provided by Xiao Bei before the assessment. Everyone had already formulated a battle plan. Point among the 7C Douluo. The 4 Douluo Sea Dragon, Sea Spear, Sea Vanilla and Starfish need to use clever methods to easily pass, otherwise Ning Rangrang, who prefers to support, will have to defeat 7 titles in a row within 36 hours. Douluo is really too difficult. After all, the martial arts she uses for fighting only have 3 soul rings. However, if all 7 of them relied on trickery, that would be too lazy, and would definitely make Poseidon dissatisfied. Therefore, Ning Rangrang, the 3 Douluo of Seahorse, Sea Ghost, and Sea Girl, decided to challenge head-on. This way, the problem should not be big. Point. Even if he can pass the test, he won't let Poseidon be too disappointed. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 486 Phantom Sound vs Sea Girl Douluo Xianai Information. In front of the Hinv sacred pillar, Hinv Douluo played her sea magic flute, and Ling Yin also plucked her strings. The battle here was not as fierce as other battlefields, because it was a competition of pure music, and the attacks were all soul attacks. After the Sea Girl Douluo opened the soul of the weapon, a total of 7 songs including Fantasy Sea Music, Sea Sound Forbidden Soul, 7-Star Magic Sound, Siren's Journey, Banshee's Sorrow, Raging Sea Roar, and Heart-Shocking Magic Song have been all played once. Point. The Phantom Sound also turned on its true form, and played out each piece of music in Yao Guang's music score, such as Ningguyan Song, Kang Huang Tune, Desolate Sigh, Samsara Song, Immortal Song Do Tune, Immortal Song Dreaming Tune, Immortal Song. There are also 7 songs for chanting sacred tunes. Although the music played by the 2 people was extremely beautiful, all the nearby creatures had retreated several kilometers away. This music was not allowed to be listened to. If you listen to it, you would definitely die in the beautiful music. Point. Surprisingly, Himiya Douluo was suppressed almost the whole time, not because of her soul power, but because of her pure musical attainments. The Sea Girl Douluo couldn't help but sigh. I really didn't expect that there are people on the mainland who have such profound attainments in music. Beautiful sister, Please listen to my last song, the 9th soul skill, the sea suppressing divine comedy. She finally won. The most popular song is the divine comedy. It is said that this song can calm the rough sea. There are even rumors that when the demonic killer whales chased the demonic great white sharks to Poseidon Island, the sea witch used this sea suppressing song to frighten them away. This shows how terrifying this song is. Facing this piece of music, Phantom also knew that he couldn't be careless, and it was time to use his full strength. Senior, please also listen to my song of skylight breaking formation, the strongest song of Lingyan, one of the 7 saints of Shu Mountain, finally appeared. Back then, Huan Yin was only learning the first level, and in the academy competition, he killed 5 people from Wuhandian Academy with one song, including Yan from the Golden Generation. Today, she has already reached the 7th level. Even a titled Douluo would never be careless when facing this song. 2 powerful spiritual forces collided with each other in the air along with the music. The sea girl Douluo could only use 60% of her strength, while the phantom sound was blessed by the seal of the god of music. As this increased and decreased, the spiritual strength of both parties could be said to be about the same. At this time, it depends on whose song is more powerful. Huan Yin was surprised to find that from the beginning of the performance of this sea suppressing divine song to the present, not only did it not cause any harm to her, but it also made her understanding of the music continue to deepen, as if it was assisting her practice. Yin Douluo also discovered the abnormality, but she was not angry. It was just a test. If you lose, you lose. But there was one thing that made her very concerned. What kind of technique did Huan Yin practice? It seemed that not only could she be completely immune to sound waves, attack, and can also absorb other people's music to strengthen itself. Could it be the Yin formation? Huan Yin finally remembered. In the Yaoguang music score, there is a very peculiar formation that can only be practiced at the 7th level or above. Huan Yin has been learning for some time, but never got the point. Unexpectedly, under the pressure of Sea Girl Douluo's Enhaishengwa today, he unconsciously set up the Yin formation, which is much more powerful than the power of the domain. Thank you, Senior, for helping me. Thanks to Senior, I can learn new stunts. Now I ask Senior to teach me. Huan Yin smiled slightly, and his body suddenly split into 5. Standing at a strange angle. There is a front and a back. This position seems like a musical score. This is the Yin formation. Once unfolded, the body will transform into 5 clones, Gong, Shang, Qibao, Zeng, and you point among them. The palace is the center of the magic circle, and its physical and mental defenses are extremely strong, making it difficult for any attack to break through. The 4 clones of Shang, Qibao, Zeng and you all have the same offensive and defensive capabilities. Every time a clone is consumed, the power of the center of the array is partially weakened. In other words, this formation is completely opposite to the conventional formation. Not only can't you attack the center of the formation, but if you want to break this formation, you can only attack the 2 clones of Shang and Qibao from the outside to the inside. Unfortunately, Douluo, and not knowing this, she almost subconsciously directed all her mental power towards the clone in the middle, Gong. You must know that when the other 4 clones of Gongs have not been destroyed, the physical and mental defenses are more than 5 times that of Huan Yin. With 60% of the mental power of Douluo, it is impossible to shake it at all. Douluo's spiritual power was like a small river flowing into the sea, disappearing without a trace. Before Douluo could be surprised, the dome of light breaking formation song that the 5 clones had been playing finally reached its climax. 5 bright rays of light flashed out from the 5 avatars and went straight towards Douluo. Almost subconsciously, Douluo exclaimed, "I give up." Huan Yin smiled slightly and immediately stopped playing. The 5 rays of light slowly dissipated in the air before hitting Douluo. The sea girl Douluo breathed a sigh of relief. It was so thrilling just now. Those 5 rays of light were all a mental shock. If it really hit him, even if he was a titled Douluo, he would be seriously injured. Even if he didn't die, Senior, I accept it. Huan Yin released the formation, returned to his true form, walked to the sea lady Douluo and bowed. "Beautiful. Sister, you are really amazing. The technique you practice is the strongest of all the sonic techniques I have ever seen. It is much stronger than the techniques inherited from our mermaid clan." Douluo complimented. He said, "Beautiful sister, how about you teach me, and I'll trade our clan songs for you." Huan Yin was speechless as to how the Douluo was called a sister. In fact, the Douluo was already over 90 years old. However, since the lifespan of the mermaid clan is 5 times that of a human being, the 90-year-old age would be equivalent to a 20-year-old human being. Not even that, so Douluo forcefully stated that she was still very young, and it was reasonable to call Huan, who was nearly 30 years old, her sister. But this guy's personality is really like a little girl, and he loves to act coquettishly. For example, right now, he wants to ask Huan for the Yaoguang music score point. Huan said helplessly, "Senior, it's not that Huan cherishes his broom, but this technique was passed down to me by someone else. Even if I agree to pass it on to you, I must get his permission. Please don't embarrass Huan." "Okay." Douluo pouted cutely, looking extremely aggrieved. Fortunately, she is not a real child after all, and she is not at the level of an unreasonable naughty child. The phantom sound assessment has been successfully passed. Among all the assessments, only Ningrangrong, Oslo and Oscar are left to complete the assessment. Ningrangrong has actually passed the sea spear and starfish levels now. At this time, she and Oslo are heading to the Sea Vanity Holy Pillar to challenge this ruthless character ranked 3rd among the 7 sons of Poseidon. It is said that he has the ability to see through the most fearful things in other people's hearts and is a very difficult opponent. Chapter 487 Oslo fights Tang Heo again. Oslo's challenge was about to begin. After Ningrangrong defeated Sea Star Douluo, they came to the Sea Fantasy Holy Pillar together and prepared to challenge Sea Vanity Douluo. Unlike several other guardians of the Holy Pillar who had been waiting here for a long time, when they came here, they saw only illusory blue light and shadow, faintly diffused on the sea. Under the cover of blue light and shadow, they could not see clearly at all. In the situation in the Holy Pillar Square, it was natural that Huan Douluo himself could not be seen. What exactly is going on? If Huan Douluo doesn't show up, how can we start our assessment? Oslo asked in confusion. At this time, a purple-clothed guardian of Poseidon Island came and said, "3 of you, I have been waiting here for a long time under the orders of Lord Huang. In fact, the test of the 3 of you has begun. This blue smoke This is Master Huang's strongest psychedelic field, and it is also the illusion technique he is most proud of. All the 3 of you have to do is pass through this blue mist, and you will have passed the test. It's a domain right from the beginning. It seems that this sea vampire Douluo is not a good-tempered one, but I'm not afraid," Oslo said confidently. "Just let me go first." After saying that, Oslo ghost leopard possessed him and rushed into the blue smoke. He wanted to use his speed as a spirit master of the agility and attack system to get through the fog as quickly as possible. However, when he entered the center of the fog, he seemed to be lost. Unknowingly, he came to a forest. This was Poseidon Island. How could such a forest exist? Moreover, for some reason, this forest made him feel familiar at this moment. A flying hammer suddenly spun towards this side. Sensing the danger, Oslo subconsciously retreated to avoid the attack, and then he saw the true face of the hammer. "Hey Ocean. Hammer." Oslo was startled and immediately raised his head to look in the direction where the hammer was flying. A man in a robe was standing on the treetop. This scene was too familiar to him. It was exactly the scene when he was killed by Tang Heo's hammer in the Stardao forest. "Ah, you Tang Heo?" "No, Tang Heo is already dead. It was an illusion created by Huan Douluo." Xiaobei said that Huan Douluo has the ability to bring out the most fearful things in people's hearts. Oslo was most afraid in his heart. Of course, it was the moment when he was forcibly killed by Tang Heo. After all, he really experienced death at that time. "I'm not afraid. What's fake is fake." Oslo's arms were still shaking a little, and he could only keep comforting himself. Psychological shadows are not so easy to overcome. Haha, you can find out for yourself whether it is fake or not. A deep voice echoed in the air. It must be Huan Douluo. His voice contained an extremely sinister feeling, doubling the fear in people's hearts at this time. Tang Heo moved, and the clear sky hammer was sucked into his hand again, and a heavy hammer slammed towards Oslo. Oslo almost subconsciously raised his arms and crossed them in defense. He suddenly remembered that this was how he died back then. His arms and skull were completely shattered by the hammer. He quickly gave up his defense and used the soaring dragon and leopard transformation to dodge. After all, Oslo was now a contra full of soul bones, and his speed was not slower than that of ordinary titled Douluo. There was no problem in dodging this attack. Tang Heo missed the target with one blow, but didn't care. He raised his head and looked at Oslo. A majestic murderer saw a spread, and Oslo felt that his whole body's attributes had dropped by more than 30%. This is the god of Death Realm. This illusion is too real. Even the god of Death Realm can be used. Oslo was horrified. He felt as if he was really fighting Haoshin Douluo. Tang Heo's fifth soul ring flickered. The appearance of the clear sky hammer did not change, but its weight became heavier and heavier. When it weighed more than 10,000 kilograms, Tang Heo suddenly threw the hammer. The third soul skill, Leopard Shadow Clone. Oslo quickly created a clone to dodge, but the flying hammer seemed to have eyes, completely ignoring Oslo's clone and attacking towards his real body. This move is called Lingshan Strike. In addition to its huge power, another effect is soul skill locking. The sixth soul skill, Nothingness. Oslo immediately used the 100,000-year soul skill. In this state, Oslo was immune to physical attacks. Tang Heo, I'm no longer the person I was back then. The person I'm now is far more powerful than I was then, and I will never be easily killed by you again, Oslo said angrily. Volcano Orangutan Soul Bone Skill, Explosive Fire Strike. Oslo starts to take the initiative to attack, and the state of nothingness can last for 1 minute. During this minute, he is the only one who can hit others, and others cannot touch him at all. Tang Heo glanced at Oslo, and the clear sky hammer spun around in a circle, failing to hit the target, before flying back to him. Standing in front of him, Tang Heo's sixth soul ring flashed, and several black shields surrounded him. Its surroundings were completely protected. This is Tang Heo's sixth soul skill, Haoshin Body Protection. Oslo's fist hitting the shield had no effect. Tang Heo could not hit him temporarily, but he could not break Tang Heo's defense. The fourth soul skill, Ghost Leopard's Thousand Split Claws. Oslo did not give up. Since ordinary attacks were useless, he added the armor breaking feature. Every time his fourth soul skill attacks, it will lower the opponent's defense. Additional effects: 1 claw, 2 claws, 1,000 claws in a short period of time. Oslo grabbed a point thousands of times to break the surface. Finally, cracks were made in Haoshin's shield. Oslo used the explosive fire attack again, shattering the shield with one punch, and the remaining punch force rushed inside, hitting Tang Heo's abdomen, and sending him flying out. How about Tang Heo? You have seen how powerful I am. I know that I'm still no match for you, but the word fear will never be in my dictionary. Remember, I'm a strong attack type and a sensitive attack type. Fighting Soul Master. Oslo has noticed at this moment that Tang Heo's strength is determined based on the fear in his heart. The more afraid you are, the stronger he is. On the contrary, as long as you are fearless, it is easy to defeat him. Oslo has always been bold, and head-on collisions between the agile attack system and the powerful attack system are commonplace for him. In fact, when I first met Tang Heo, the fear caused by the psychological shadow did account for 50%, but the excitement of being able to take revenge with my own hands also accounted for 50%. As Oslo became more and more courageous as he fought, the fear in his heart gradually decreased, and Tang Heo's strength also continued to decrease. In the end, Tang Heo was locked from behind by Oslo. The sixth soul skill, 8 stages of explosive killing. Oslo's strongest 100,000-year soul skill, which killed Luo Mayan back then, completely shattered all the fears in his heart today. With the death of Phantom Tang Heo, the scene around Oslo was shattered like a mirror. Finally, Oslo saw the Sea Phantom Holy Pillar, one of the 7 holy pillars of Poseidon. This meant that his test had passed. Chapter 488, Breaking Through the Illusion. Ningrangran passes a level. Oslo walked towards the Sea Fantasy Holy Pillar. In front of the Holy Pillar stood a middle-aged man. He looked about 50 years old and was quite handsome, but his face was a little pale. On his body, there are 9 soul rings neatly arranged, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 5 black. wearing a black robe. There is a snake-like light band floating around his body, which is obviously his martial spirit, which is extremely strange. In fact, this martial spirit is an extremely magical and rare sea soul beast called the elusive snake, which is between the beast martial spirit and the weapon martial spirit. So what appears on Douluo is not a case of possession, but floated on the surface of his body. At this time, he was looking at Oslo with admiration. Nice boy. Facing the opponent who killed me back then, the heart of revenge exceeds the heart of fear. Although it was just an illusion just now, how does it feel to take revenge with your own hands? One word, cool. I had a huge regret in my heart, because I couldn't kill Tang Heo, so I could only kill Tang San. Now I feel that my knot has been resolved, and I will definitely be able to practice faster in the future. Oslo was grateful. He said, "Thank you senior, for your help." When Douluo nodded. "As your realm improves, your qualifications will naturally increase, but I don't know if the next girl will be as lucky as you. Oslo, if you pass the 5th of the 6 black level exams, your soul power will be increased by 1 level. It is currently level 84. The light of Poseidon shines down and gives a reward. Oslo's level has been improved by 1 level again. Now he is considered a master in this world. After all, he has 6 soul bones in his body. Those ordinary title Douluo without soul bones may not be his opponents in a one-on-one confrontation. The purple clothed soul master from the outside quickly received Douluo's instructions and learned that the previous person had passed the test, so he came to Ning Rangrong and asked her to go through the test. Ning Rangrong looked at Zhu Zuking and said, "Zuking, let me do this alone. My blue spirit saint eyes can see through illusions. Maybe it will be easier for me to succeed alone." "Okay, you have to work hard, Rangrong." Zhu Zuking agreed. She was also worried that if she followed, she would not only not be able to help, but would become a burden. Anyway, I'm not the examiner, I'm just helping Ning Rangrong pass the test, so it doesn't matter if I don't go. Ning Rangrong walked into the blue smoke, and the environment began to change again. The variables came and went, but the result remained the same. This made Douluo stunned. "That's strange. Doesn't this little girl have any psychological shadow in her heart?" Ning Rangrong also felt strange. She had already opened her holy pupils, but what did it mean when nothing appeared? Douluo finally couldn't help but ask, "Little girl, I didn't expect you to be a person without fear. Have you never encountered anything terrible in your life?" "Yes, the Wuhan Palace once sent more than 10,000 soul masters to attack our 7 treasures glazed sect. They wanted to destroy our sect. Extreme Douluo Kai and Douluo also came here, preparing to drive out all my family members." Ning Rangrong replied that these 2 things were indeed the most terrifying things she had ever experienced. But this made Douluo even more confused. "You have actually experienced the disaster of destroying your family twice, but you are still indifferent to such terrible things. Little girl, are you calm or cold-blooded?" Ning Rangrong said calmly, "Well senior, they just came to beat us, but we were not wiped out. How could I be afraid? Almost all of the 10,000 soul masters sent by me for the first time were killed by my husband Net." "What about the second time? Extreme Douluo comes in person. Doesn't this move you?" Hearing Douluo's question, Oslo said helplessly, "Senior, you really can't scare her. Kai Douluo, who came for the second time, was beaten up by her grandfather again. In the end, she ran away in disgrace, and none of her family members died." Douluo was speechless. This little girl had such deep feelings. She had grown up under the protection of a bunch of people, and had never experienced anything terrible. No wonder she didn't have any psychological shadow at all. Such people are his nemesis in the psychedelic field. There is no other way. The psychedelic field doesn't work, but I can't let you pass it so easily. The 9th soul skill, illusion, mirage and sea bite. Douluo increased the difficulty for Ning Rangrong. His 9th soul skill is also an illusion, but unlike the psychedelic realm, this illusion is not created based on people's fears, but is set up by him. At this time, Ning Rangrong was in a boundless mountain range, and the mountains and rivers in the mountains were changing anytime and anywhere, like a huge maze. If he couldn't see through this illusion, he would stay in the mountains forever. linger until old point Ning Rangrang opened the blue spirit saint eyes. Although her current mental power was still slightly inferior to titled Douluo, it was not much different. The problem was that the ninth soul skill itself was too powerful, so she could not completely see through it. But it doesn't matter, she can't do it. There are others, sister. Rangrang, leave the next step to me. Snow Emperor smiled slightly, and with Ning Rangrang's consent, he took over Ning Rangrang's body. 700,000 years of spiritual power was so great that it covered the entire mountain range, and the Snow Emperor immediately discovered the way to the outside world. It's this right here, Emperor's palm. It's cold and snowless. The Snow Emperor violently slapped his palm in one direction, and the powerful freezing air formed an ice road on the ground point. After returning the body to Ning Rangrang, the Snow Emperor said, "Good sister, don't worry about how these mountains, rivers, and vegetation change. They are all fake. As long as you keep walking along this ice road, there will be no problem." "Well, thank you, sister Snow Emperor." Ning Rangrang smiled, and then obediently followed Snow Emperor's instructions, and walked along the ice road. As expected, the changing illusion could not stop her steps. Ning Rangrang walked along the ice road to the end. When she took the last step, the illusion completely disappeared, and even the blue mist surrounding the sea fantasy holy pillar also dissipated. "Little girl, I really didn't expect that at that moment. You could burst out with such powerful mental power and break my illusion in one breath. Very good, you passed the test." Haywan Douluo said, "Thank you, senior, for your advice." Ning Rangrang said happily. She was given 36 hours for the assessment, but in less than 3 hours, she had already passed 3 titled Douluo point. Although cheating is shameful, it does work. There is an ancient saying, today's test is today's failure. It means if you don't cheat on today's exam, you won't have a chance in the future. The ancients will not deceive me. Next, Ning Rangrang's goal is the strongest sea dragon Douluo. As long as he passes his level, the remaining 3 will be much easier to handle. After all, there is still plenty of time. Arriving in front of the sea dragon sacred pillar, Oscar and Meng Yiren had been waiting here for a long time. Seeing Ning Rangrang arriving, Oscar stood up. It was finally his turn for the assessment. His opponent was the strongest among the 7 sons of Poseidon. He was very excited. It's incredible. Chapter 489 Tianlin's blood. Oscar holds the magic sword. The 4 of them came to the sea dragon holy pillar. Compared with several other seas within the sea, the sea area in front of us is obviously larger. The clear water is so crystal clear that you can see some very small marine life swimming in it. There seems to be no sea soul beast, and the entire sea within the sea appears circular. There are various plants on the shore, blue sky, green trees and blue sea, intertwining into a moving scene. The holy pillar platform in the middle of the sea seems to echo the sea within the sea. It is also circular, and has a diameter of about 30 meters. The whole body is as blue as the sea water, and the fine scales are carved like the real body. On the circular sacred pillar, there is a giant blue dragon hovering. It is worthy of being the head of the 7 holy pillars. Indeed, solemn. Right on the edge of the sacred pillar stood a shirtless man. He was more than 2 meters tall, with his back to the 4 people at this time. His entire body was like an inverted triangle, with broad shoulders, granite-like back muscles, and dark blue semi-long hair that just reached the shoulders, and was naturally curled. On his solid back muscles, there is a blue dragon pattern tattooed on it, no doubt. He is a guardian here, the most powerful sea dragon Douluo among the 7 sacred pillars of Poseidon. Hearing the footsteps of several people, sea dragon Douluo, who was standing on the edge of the holy pillar platform, slowly turned around. What appeared in front of everyone was a simple face that looked like he was only in his 30s, with thick chest muscles. The abdominal muscles are shining with a healthy bronze color like armor. "You guys came faster than I thought," Sea Dragon Douluo said. "Is it really okay for you to challenge me so early? My strength is completely different from the ones you have seen before." Sea Dragon Douluo spoke arrogantly, but what he said was true. After his soul power reached level 95, he entered another stage. compared with the 94th level titled Douluo. The 95th level titled Douluo is a qualitatively point. For example, Juji Douluo of Wuhan Palace has always said that he is a 95th level titled Douluo, but their actual level is between level 94 and 95. They are always far away from Super Douluo. It's also close point the Sea Dragon Douluo in front of him was actually a Super Douluo master. Of course I know how powerful Senior is, but I will never back down easily. Please give me guidance. Oscar stood up and said, although I don't know where your food-based soul master's inexplicable self-confidence comes from, but since Lord Poseidon has arranged this, I think it comes from his own intentions, so I will accept your challenge. Sea Dragon Douluo released his martial arts directly. Soul, his body began to change. The blue dragon tattoo on his back shone brightly. The strong blue light instantly enveloped his body. Violent energy fluctuations surged instantly. In an instant, the sea water around the holy pillar platform was lifted outward at the same time. A huge wave point. The skin of the naked upper body was quickly covered with blue scales. The scales were round and each had raised edges. Soon, all of Sea Dragon Douluo's exposed skin was completely covered. His already majestic body also swelled a bit, and a dark blue crystal similar to an eye emerged from his chest. Faintly, a huge virtual image of a blue dragon appeared behind him. 9 soul rings, 2 yellow, 2 purple, 5 black, rose from his feet. With this tyrannical spirit, the Sea Dragon Douluo in front of him was an offensive combat spirit master. It is very similar to Yu Xianheng. Except for the different attributes, this sea dragon spirit is probably not inferior to the blue electric tyrannical dragon. The 6th soul skill, mirror the intestines of a cat like a tiger. Oscar also recited the soul curse. Although it was the same soul skill, fortunately his was not the soul curse in the original work, and the level of obscenity was slightly reduced. Soon, a mirror sausage appeared in his hand, and Sea Dragon Douluo was not in a hurry to attack. He knew that the real assessment would not officially begin until the person opposite ate the sausage. Otherwise, a food-type soul master would want to face him with. Oscar took out a small bottle from his arms. It was his own blood that Tianlin gave him before coming to Poseidon Island. It was also his biggest trump card. Oscar opened the bottle cap and ripped a drop of blood on the mirror intestine. The mirror intestine immediately gave off extremely huge pressure. Even Sea Dragon Douluo was subconsciously on guard. He was very sure that Oscar who drank that sausage, there must be the power to compete with him. As expected of Ziocean's blood, it's too powerful. I hope I can bear it. Oscar encouraged himself and swallowed the mirror intestine without hesitation. Suddenly, an overwhelming power appeared from his body. The Tianlin who gave this blood at that time was a contract of over 80 levels, but his strength was almost as strong as that of a Super Douluo of level 96 or 7. After Oscar takes the mirror intestine, he can temporarily copy Tianlin's magic sword spirit and exert 80% of its power. Of course, it is limited to the spirit and soul ring, Tianlin sword skills, soul bones, domains, etc. He couldn't copy it, and the Holy Spirit bead seemed to have exceeded the upper limit of the mirror intestine, and it couldn't be copied either. But this is enough. Among the titled Douluo, there are very few who can block the soul ring skills of the Tianlin demon sword. What's more, Sea Dragon Douluo itself still has a strength limit of 60%. A blue magic sword is already in Oscar's hand, and 8 soul rings of yellow, purple, black, red, and red rise from Oscar's feet. However, since Oscar's level at this time is only over 70, this 8th soul ring is just furnishings. The biggest weakness of the mirror intestine is that it is still limited by the rules of Douluo Continent, and the soul saint can only use the soul skills of the first 7 soul rings. Is this a sausage that copies other people's abilities? I just don't know who this guy is copying, but he actually has 3 red soul rings, and 2 of them are far beyond the 100,000 year level. Sea Dragon Douluo, as the strongest, the guardian of the holy pillar, has also heard some rumors about the ferocious beast. After all, there is a super ferocious beast in the sea. He also knew that the soul skills of these ferocious beast soul rings were far stronger than ordinary 100,000-year-old soul skills. Take the move, the 7th soul skill, the true form of the demon sword. Oscar didn't leave Sea Dragon Douluo much time to be surprised, and immediately launched a strong attack. After all, The time of the mirror intestine is very limited. If it were the blood of other soul masters, it could last for 3 minutes, but Oscar estimated that with Tianlin's blood, he could last for at most 2 minutes, otherwise his body would definitely not be able to hold on. The 7th soul skill, Sea Dragon True Body. Sea Dragon Douluo did not dare to be careless, and also activated the martial spirit True Body point, but he didn't open the field. For someone like Oscar who doesn't have a field, Sea Dragon Douluo's field is useless, because his field is called the Demon Breaking Field, and its effect is to break the opponent's field effect, which is the same as Tianlin's Demon Suppressing Field. The fields are similar, neither side has domain suppression, so it will be a duel of pure soul skills. In this regard, Oscar now has absolute confidence. Chapter 490 Sword Lord Oscar defeated Sea Dragon Douluo. The first soul skill, Ning Hangsu, Oscar, was the first to take action, but instead of attacking Sea Dragon Douluo, he slashed across the sea within a sea with his sword, freezing a large area of the sea point. This made Sea Dragon Douluo's eyes light up. The kid in front of him still had some fighting IQ, and knew how to get rid of the unfavorable terrain first. Although Sea Dragon Douluo couldn't directly absorb the power of the sea to strengthen like Sea Spear Douluo, he could still fight in the sea. Yes, this is extremely detrimental to Oscar, who is a land soul master. Haha, boy, the tactics are good. Then I'm coming. Be careful to take the move. With a bang, Sea Dragon Douluo kicked his right foot heavily on the ground, and the reaction force pushed his body towards Oscar like a cannonball. The direction rushed over while exerting force. You can clearly see that the scales on his body are all standing up, like sharp saw teeth, and strong blue light explodes, integrating with the release effect of his soul ring, and in his body everywhere was dyed with a layer of blue light. This was his 5th soul skill, the Divine Dragon Shaking Armor. This soul skill comprehensively improved Sea Dragon Douluo's physical fitness. Sea Dragon Douluo leaned forward, almost parallel to the ground during the forward lunge, maintaining a perfect streamline shape, and grabbed Oscar's shoulder with the sharp claws of his right hand point facing Sea Dragon Douluo's attack. Oscar, who had gained the power of Tianlin at this moment, also showed the strong fighting spirit of an attack-type soul master. He swung the magic sword with his right hand, and stabbed Sea Dragon Douluo's sharp claws from the front point. The two sharp objects collided, and when they passed by, a faint light of fire flashed across the body of the magic sword and the sharp claws of the Sea Dragon point. The two sides passed side by side, and Oscar immediately turned around. 2nd soul skill, conferring the god of ice and fire. The 2nd soul skill, Deep Sea Cold Current. Sea Dragon Douluo is also a Super Douluo. His reaction speed is faster than Oscar's. His soul skill takes action first point from the sea dragon's mouth. A stream of air filled with chills is ejected, which can freeze the opponent's blood point. Faced with this blow, Oscar didn't panic. It didn't matter if he was late for a second, as long as he could strike. The second spirit ring of the magic sword flickered, and the cold energy that was about to hit Oscar dissipated as he approached point. Oscar took advantage of the situation, and slashed out to sword energy, hitting Sea Dragon Douluo's chest, leaving an X-shaped scar on his chest. What? Sea Dragon Douluo covered his chest, obviously caught off guard by this blow. It turned out to be the ultimate fire and the ultimate ice. The attribute suppression made my cold energy completely useless, and these two sword energies seemed to have seals. The function of soul power. Sea Dragon Douluo felt that his soul power was now only at level 94, which was not good. Using the same 60% strength, 94 and 95 were completely different levels. Even if a level 95 Super Douluo only uses 60% of his strength, it is not difficult to defeat a level 94 titled Douluo. However, if a level 94 Douluo only uses 60% of his strength, he will be able to defeat one in a row. Level 92 will not be easy. This is the qualitative change at this critical level. It seems that we have to decide quickly. The 8th soul skill is the Deep Sea Dragon King transformation. Sea Dragon Douluo strengthened again with the 5th, 8th and triple amplifications of the martial spirit avatar. Sea Dragon Douluo's strength at this moment has reached the level of Super Douluo. If he were to perform these 3 moves in a row, he could even defeat 97 in a short period of time. Super Douluo, the 6th soul skill, Dragon Roar Wave Breaking. After the strengthening was completed, Sea Dragon Douluo immediately launched a fierce attack, Hey, the information Xiaobei said is indeed correct. Sea Dragon Douluo is very good at strengthening himself. I will definitely win this time. Oscar showed a confident smile. Look at my mirror skull, clone. The mirror intestine can only copy martial souls and soul rings, but the soul bones are still his own point. Oscar sent his own body to send it off, and blocked Sea Dragon Douluo's blow point, and he himself inserted the magic sword into the ground. The third soul skill, the wind and water flow, a Feng Shui enchantment quickly spread and enveloped the entire Sea Dragon holy pillar. This was not an attack move. When Sea Dragon Douluo was confused, he suddenly discovered that his 3-level increase had all dissipated in an instant. Oscar had used the Feng Shui shift under the activation of the demonic sword's avatar, so Sea Dragon Douluo and his martial soul avatar were unable to move. Gone. The 5th soul skill, Phantom Water Thunder. At this time, Oscar gave himself a boost. Tianlin's Phantom Water Thunder during the Contra era was enough to make Soul Saints who were originally around level 77 to 78, with the ability to temporarily reach level 80. Tianlin, a titled Douluo, can even force a Soul Douluo from level 88 to 89 to break through point. Oscar's move just pushed his soul power to level 80 point, and it just so happened that Tianlin had an 8th soul ring. As Oscar's level increased, the originally dim 8th soul ring started to shine. Sea Dragon Douluo's eyes were solemn, and it was another magical skill that could actually allow people to forcefully break through the realm, but he didn't understand what Oscar's intention was. The sword was indeed powerful, but it didn't belong to Oscar after all. After first making a mirror sausage, and then using so many soul skills and soul bone skills in succession, Oscar might not have much soul power left. The moment his triple amplification disappeared, he should have used all his remaining soul power to take the opportunity to attack. This way, the chance of winning would be at least 60 to 70%. Oscar smiled slightly. Senior Hey Long, I know what you are thinking, but what I'm using now is Zyroshan's martial spirit. Of course, I must inherit his fighting style. What he likes to do the most is to use the martial arts spirit that was originally only 6 or 7. The chance of winning is forcibly raised to 100%. The reason why I make the 8th soul ring shine is this: the 8th soul skill, the ultimate curse to return to yin and yang. A dark blue light surrounded Oscar. When the light dissipated, Oscar's fatigue was gone, and even his mental and soul power had been fully restored. Originally, he could no longer bear the power of Tianlin's blood, and the magic sword was about to dissipate. Now, he could hold on for another 2 minutes, which was enough for him to decide the winner. Completely recovered. What is the origin of this sword? It has terrifying attack power, excellent restraint ability, and it also has both strengthening and recovery capabilities. Even the High Priest's Poseidon martial spirit is not that powerful, right? Sea Dragon Douluo said in disbelief. I didn't expect that there is a martial spirit that surpasses the Poseidon spirit in this world. Senior, I'm about to make a move. This is my last round of offensive. Oscar didn't give Sea Dragon Douluo much time to be surprised. The 4th soul ring lit up, and the flowing light killing immortal slash was launched. Sea Dragon Douluo, whose level had been weakened, lost all increases, and whose soul power was greatly consumed, was now at a complete disadvantage. How could he possibly withstand the terrifying attack power of the demon sword with real damage effects with just his fists? Not long after, Sea Dragon Douluo was covered in cuts and bruises. Of course, they were just superficial injuries. After all, it was just an assessment. Oscar couldn't have killed him. There were still about 10 seconds before the magic sword dissipated, and Oscar said loudly, let's send it here. The 6th soul skill, the 3-talented magic formation. A powerful sword formation surrounded Sea Dragon Douluo. Under the bombardment of endless sword energy, the outcome of this battle was decided. Oscar, if you pass the 5th of the 6 black level exams, you will be rewarded with an increase in soul power by 1 level. It is currently level 78. Chapter 491 Divine Light Body Protection Ningrangrang. Hey, Kit, can you tell me where the sword you copied came from? Even if I search the entire sea, I don't think I can find a stronger martial spirit than this one. Sea Dragon Douluo didn't care at all. Due to his own injuries, he even wanted to know whose hands he had lost to point. Although it was Oscar who defeated him, He knew very well that this power came from the real owner of the sword. Senior, this is the martial spirit of the deputy master of my Qibao glazed sect. He is my boss and the husband of your next challenger. Oscar said with a smile. He looked at Ning Rangrang and nodded, indicating that this was when Sea Dragon Douluo was at his weakest, and it was time for her to take action. Ning Rangrang took Zhu King to the front of the Sea Dragon sacred pillar and said, Senior, if you are interested in my husband, I can introduce you to him later. You have a bold personality, and he is also informal. I believe you will get along very well. Haha, okay, I really want to be friends with the heroes of this world. Sea Dragon Douluo laughed and said, little girl, next is your challenge, right? My soul power is extremely consumed now, and my injuries are not light. In this case, how about another method? I only attack once. If you block this attack, you will pass. If you can't block it, you will fail. Ning Rangrang thought for a while. Sea Dragon Douluo was a super Douluo after all. Even if he was not in a good state now, he could not be easily dealt with. Next, she still had 3 title Douluo to fight, and she wanted to pick all 3 of them. Fighting when you are in good condition, it is really not advisable to spend too much here, so I agreed. Okay, then I will ask your majesty for your advice. Sea Dragon Douluo nodded and walked to the side of the square. Oscar and Zhu King also retreated. Zhu King still did not assist in the assessment this time. Since she was only taking the next move, she was of little use. After all, her strongest strength was speed and her weakest was defense, which would not be of much help to Ning Rangrang. Besides, Ning Rangrang has already won this test, and won without any doubt. After all, her 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda has reached the 8th level. Then, take it, little girl, this will be my strongest attack. Sea Dragon Douluo warned. Sacrifice skill, Ocean Impact, 9th soul skill, Breaking Waves, Blue Scale Dragon Fist. Ning Rangrang's eyes narrowed. Here we come. Xiao Bei once told her that when Sea Dragon Douluo's 9th soul skill and the self-sacrifice skill were unleashed, he was at his strongest point. In fact, this self-sacrifice skill is his self-created soul skill. Once used, the next attack will increase the attack power to 200% without any defense. With twice the power of a super Douluo, even an ordinary defensive titled Douluo might not be able to block it. Sea Dragon Douluo punched out, and the powerful fist wind transformed into a huge blue dragon, and pounds towards Ning Rangrang. Compared with that behemoth, Ning Rangrang seemed too petite. But in her palm, the small tower gradually grew larger, until it was hundreds of meters high, far exceeding the giant dragon in front of her in terms of size. The 9 treasure glazed pagoda enveloped Ning Rangrang, and Ning Rang heard from inside the tower. Rang shouted sweetly, the 8th soul skill, 9 treasures divine light body protection. The 9 treasures glazed pagoda bloomed with light, but it did not move at all. After receiving Sea Dragon Douluo's strongest blow point, even though they are both protected by the 9 treasures divine light, Ning Rangrang's soul skills are much stronger than Ning Feng's. Not only can he be immune to any attack below the 9th soul skill, he can block the 9th soul skill 9 times without being destroyed. It can also absorb its attack power, and convert it into defensive power, and absorb its soul power, to restore its own soul power, which is a real life-saving skill point. Even if Sea Dragon Douluo wanted to defeat Ning Rangrang, he would have to fire the 9th soul skill at least 9 times in a row to do it. But no one can fire the 9th soul skill 9 times in a row. In most cases, they are all used as title Douluo's trump cards. It's good to be able to use them 2 or 3 times in a battle. In other words, if you want to kill Ning Rangrang, you must at least be surrounded by several title Douluo. In fact, in this 5th Poseidon test, Ning Rangrang has long been invincible. What is difficult is to defeat the opponent. After all, after endless consumption, Ning Rangrang also lost after 36 hours. Fortunately, Poseidon agreed to let him choose a helper to help him fight, so he couldn't give him a test that he couldn't complete. Sea Dragon Douluo found that his attacks were completely useless, and he was helpless. His strength had been almost exhausted, and he had used all his strength in the attack just now. Now, he couldn't muster any more strength to continue the test, so he could only say, that's it, little girl, you passed my test, go to another holy pillar. Thank you, senior. Ning Rangrang said gratefully. The strongest sea dragon Douluo was defeated by her in the first level again. As long as she and Zuking cooperated with each other, the probability of passing the 5th test was still quite high. However, even if it passes this time, Ningrangrang's Poseidon affinity won't be too high. This affinity is actually very important, related to the strength. After inheriting the divine throne, first level gods also have strengths and weaknesses. Even if Ningrangrang succeeds in becoming Poseidon in the future, it is impossible to become as strong as the current Poseidon immediately. You must know that the current Poseidon is the pinnacle of first level gods. If he fights in the sea, his strength will be even greater. It can rival the God King. As for how much divine power you can inherit from him, it depends on your affinity level when you complete the assessment. If you inherit it exactly 100%, then you have just reached the bottom line of the strength of a first level god, and you will have to practice slowly in the future. In the original work, Tangsen was already at 115% when he completed the 8th test. Therefore, even if he had just become Poseidon, he was much stronger than Kan Ringsu, who had also just become a first level god. However, Tianlin's requirements for Ningrangrang were not high. She only needed to reach full affinity and become a god. Even if she was the bottom of the first level gods, it didn't matter. She still had to protect her for the next level. Ningrangrang chose the sea girl Douluo. She didn't want to take any chances with the last 3, so the order of choice was extremely important. Among the remaining 3 Douluo, Seahorse, Sea Ghost, and Sea Girl, Sea Ghost Douluo was slightly injured, and Seahorse Douluo had just recovered from his poisoning. It would take some time for them to fully recover. Only Hien Douluo, she just had a musical competition with Phantom Sound. At the last moment, because she gave in quickly, she was not harmed, and she returned to her best condition. After meditating for a few hours at this time, Huanain has not left. Although it is impossible for her to pass Yao Guang's music score to others without Tianlin's permission, it is just a discussion of music, and has nothing to do with it. It is rare to meet a sea maiden Douluo who can musically communicate with others. Of course, Huanain must learn from the seniors he is competing with, in order to learn from their strengths and weaknesses and strengthen himself. Sister Huanain, we are here. Ningrangrang came to the holy pillar and waved to say hello to Huanain. When Huanain saw the 2 of them, she stood up happily. Being able to get here so quickly, it seemed that their plan was completed very smoothly. Chapter 492, Fighting the Sea Female Douluo. Sister Angrong, Zuking, let me introduce to you. This is the guardian of the Henia sacred pillar, Henia Douluo. She is from the Mermaid Clan. Huanain introduced the 2 of them. Hello, are you here to challenge me too? Hien Douluo was a familiar person, and took the initiative to fly in front of the 2 of them and say hello. Ningrangrang bowed slightly. I'm just here to ask for advice from senior, and ask for mercy. Okay, I will be merciful. Hien Douluo smiled slightly. I'm very happy that 2 such beautiful sisters came to challenge me. This is the first time I have seen a girl as beautiful as me. When Ningrangrang heard this, she couldn't help but said, Sister? Senior, may I ask you this year's Jengjeng? The sea girl Douluo innocently broke off her fingers. The long fishtail was lifted up from the seawater and landed on the sacred pillar platform. It really turned into legs, with a long black skirt covering them. How can you win the fantasy? Sister Yin asked the same question. I can't remember clearly. Is it 96 or 97? Wow, sister, why do you look so ugly? I'm not saying you are old. We, the Mermaid Clan, her lifespan is 5 times that of you humans. Calculated according to your human proportions, she is less than 20 years old. It's not wrong to call you sister. My grandfather is the current patriarch of the Mermaid Clan. He said that I have extraordinary talents, and that I'm a genius, that the Mermaid Clan rarely sees in 10,000 years, so he sent me to guard the holy pillar. However, it's so boring here. I don't like it. It's a monotonous life, but I can't leave here. Sisters, you are so beautiful. How about we stop fighting and killing each other? I will play a piece of music for you, and after listening to it, you will pass the test, okay? As she spoke, she saw her left hand move slightly in front of her, and a black piccolo appeared in her palm. It spun around, and was brought to her mouth under the control of both hands. Rangrang, Zuking, don't let her play, attack immediately. Huan immediately shouted loudly. She had just experienced how powerful the sea witch's flute sound was. HMPH, Sister Huan is so partial. We are all your sisters, but you only love them. Douluo said aggrievedly. I don't care, I will brag. 9. Treasures are famous, and the second is speed. Civets. True form. Ning. Rangrang and Zhu Zuking are now considered to have rich combat experience. They have already figured out that this flute is the martial spirit of Douluo. Since it is the flute martial spirit, it must be the same as Huan, using music as its main fighting method. Therefore, no matter what, they had to try their best to stop her from playing. With Ning Rangrang's speed increase and the increase of Wuhan avatar, Zhu Zuking's speed at this time was not inferior to title Douluo, and he quickly rushed towards Douluo. The first soul skill, Mytherworld Thrust. Zhu Zuking's sharp cat claws grabbed the sea witch's flute and wrist respectively. The sea witch frowned slightly, and the light around her body suddenly became illusory. Her figure was erratic. Although she could not completely avoid Zhu Zuking's rapid attack, the black flute in her hand hit Zhu Zuking 3 times in a row. The cat's claws bounced her away. After all, she is a titled Douluo. Although her soul skills require music to be used, even if she does not use soul skills, her reactions are far superior to those of ordinary soul Douluo. Ning Rangrang's assessment was different from others in that there was number 60% strength limit, so Douluo could attack with all her strength. Once she started to play, the situation would become extremely unfavorable. The most important thing is that she also has the innate ability of the Mermaid Clan, the ability to read minds. Previously, Huan had the seal of the god of music to protect her body, but she couldn't read it. But when faced with Zhu Zuking, it showed amazing results. She could read Zhu Zuking's thoughts clearly. She knew where to attack, and how to attack. She could prepare in advance and take advantage of Zhu Zuking's attack. It was easily blocked. During one of Zhu Zuking's attacks, the sea girl Douluo finally found a flaw. While she dodged to avoid Zhu Zuking's attack, she tapped her toes on the water, and her two slender thighs returned to a fishtail shape. She turned around, and the fishtail has already been drawn towards the defenseless Zhu Zuking. Zhu Zuking was whipped away by a tail. Taking this opportunity, Douluo picked up the sea magic flute and prepared to play it. At this moment, another ray of light suddenly erupted from Ning Rangrang and enveloped Zhu Zuking. While his forehead flashed. Zhu Zuking's flying figure immediately stopped, and he stepped on an octopus soul beast that popped up in the sea to use his strength. His whole body flew towards the Amazon Douluo again like a sharp arrow. This time the speed was nearly twice as fast as before. Ning Rangrang gave her another level of 6-day increase with the increase of 2-day speed. With this explosive high speed, even the sea girl Douluo couldn't react in time. The flute was blocked again, and she had to dodge Zhu Zuking's continuous piercing attacks with all her strength. What made her even more helpless was that for some reason, she couldn't read Zhu Zuking's movements. Ning Rangrang smiled slightly. This was of course her masterpiece, a gift from her brother Jian, the fantasy skull. Although this thing was nothing compared to the Ice and Snow Emperor's martial soul ring and soul bone that he later helped her get. It's inconspicuous, but it also played a wonderful role at this time. This soul bone skill is called illusion space. It can connect you and your teammates mentally. At the same time, it can weaken the opponent's mental power by 10%. Ning Rangrang has the Poseidon seal on his body. After connecting their minds, the abilities of the Poseidon seal can be shared. Under the protection of the seal, Douluo's mind-reading skills are completely useless. Moreover, at this time, Zhu Zuking's speed increased sharply again, and she took advantage of the situation to activate the Nether Shadow clone to connect with Nether Shadow. Zhu Zuking, who had the speed of 3 titled Douluo, kept attacking the sea girl Douluo, giving her no chance to play the flute. Okay, don't hit the two sisters. Why don't I just admit defeat? Douluo shouted quickly. She couldn't play the flute, so she had no chance of winning. After hearing this, the two people immediately stopped attacking and said together, "Thank you, senior, for being merciful and accepting. HMPH, I told you that the flute I play is very nice. If you don't let me play, I will ignore you. Hinv Douluo was so aggrieved that he sat alone in front of the Hinv sacred pillar and kept muttering to the wall. Faced with Hinv Douluo's appearance, the two of them didn't know how to apologize to her. Huan smiled and said, "It doesn't matter. Senior Hinia is just a child with a bad temper. Don't worry about it. She will be fine." After thinking about it for a while, "You can go to the next assessment place." The two of them nodded and left together. Ning Rangrang also said quietly to Zhu Zuking, "This senior Hinia's love-loving personality is quite similar to my brother Jian. Maybe they will get along very well." Zhu Zuking agreed. Maybe. They all have a childish temper. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 493, Defeat of Sea Ghost Douluo and Seahorse Douluo's Fierce Attack. Snow Dance in the Ice Realm. In front of the Sea Ghost Holy Pillar, Ning Rangrang was challenging Sea Ghost Douluo. In this battle, she did not take the auxiliary route, but joined forces with Zhu Zuking to defeat the enemy. Sea Ghost Douluo is at the bottom among the 7 sacred pillars. Sea Douluo in terms of physical fitness and the power of his special moves. His strongest point is his use of poison. There were 3 experts in the use of poisons and medicines in the Qibao Glazed sect. Ning Rangrang heard them mention that under ultra high temperatures or ultra low temperatures, the power of most poisons would be greatly weakened. Although she didn't know the principle, since her grandpa Dubu, brother Jian and Yang Wudi said so, she would do it. Sure enough, the effect was remarkable. When she launched Snow Dance in the Ice Realm, the spread of Sea Ghost Douluo's poisonous mist significantly slowed down. In fact, it's not just poison. Ultimate Fire and Ultimate Ice have a great restraining effect on many things. Everything in the world is composed of molecules and atoms. The activity of atoms has a very direct relationship with temperature. The higher the temperature, the more intense the activity, but there is an upper limit to this temperature. Once it is exceeded, atoms will be split. Relatively speaking, the lower the temperature, the weaker the atomic activity will be. It is said that ice reaching absolute zero can completely stop the activity of atoms and even freeze invisible time. Of course, even if Ning Rangrang now has the ultimate ice, far from it. Sea Ghost Douluo praised, "I really didn't expect that you would use ultimate ice to limit my poison. It's really interesting, little girl. However, I'm also a title Douluo anyway, and I have more than just poison. 5 soul skills, Nether Sky Demonic Seal. Sea Ghost Douluo's martial spirit is a devilfish. The shape of this devilfish looks extremely weird. Sea Ghost Douluo can use it as a seal to attack the enemy. The magic seal flew out, and just by hearing the sound of breaking through the air, one could tell that the attack power of this move was astonishing. It was also Sea Ghost Douluo's strongest physical attack besides poison. The second soul skill, Ice King's Body Protection. The third soul skill, Demonic Ice Mirror. Ning Rangrang Ice Sky Snow Girl's second and third soul skills came out simultaneously. Both moves are defensive soul skills. The Ice King's Body Protection comes from the Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion, which acts on itself to condense a set of ice armor on the surface of its body, which is indestructible. The Evil Ice Mirror is the skill of the evil killer Whale King. The out-of-body defense soul skill places countless mirrors throughout the battlefield to defend against physical attacks or reflect energy attacks facing the Nether Sky Demonic Seal. Ning Rangrang placed the 10 ice mirrors in a straight line in front of him. Bang bang bang. Continuous sounds of shattering mirrors were heard, and all 10 ice mirrors were pierced, but each time one was pierced, the impact of the Nether Sky Demon Seal would be weakened by 1 point. When it finally hit Ning Rangrang's ice armor, not even a trace was left. Sea Ghost Douluo was stunned. He didn't expect that his strongest physical attack could be blocked so easily. It was worthy of 200,000 year soul skills. This defensive power was truly amazing. Netherworld. At this time, Zhu Zuking started a fierce attack. His opponent's poison was restricted, and he had just used a powerful soul skill. This was a good time to win in one fell swoop. ZHU Zuking closed his fingers, stretched out a sharp blade about a foot long from his arm, and struck Ghost Douluo headlong, finally stopping less than 1 centimeter away from his forehead. Ghost Douluo smiled slightly. Good timing to attack. Congratulations, you passed the test. In fact, with Ghost Douluo's strength, he can dodge this move, but he is too lazy to dodge now. After all, his strongest attack methods, Poison and the Netherworld Demon Seal, have been broken. If he continues to fight, he will lose. He didn't want to waste time, let alone consume the physical and soul power of the two girls for no reason, which would only make their next test more difficult. Thank you for your advice, senior. The two girls passed Ghost Douluo's test. As a result, there was only the last one left to pass the 5th test, and it happened to be their old acquaintance, Seahorse Douluo. The continuous fighting had consumed a lot of soul power for the two of them, and there was still a lot of time before the assessment was over, so they chose to take a short rest. After several hours of meditation, the two of them returned to their peak energy before coming to Seahorse Saint again. In front of the pillar, seeing the two people arriving, Seahorse Douluo said with a smile, "Two little girls, we haven't seen each other for 3 years. It seems that your strength has undergone earth-shaking changes. The performance of the Shi family brothers was very amazing to me before, but they face that's right, I'm only 60% of my strength. If I use my full strength, I can break through their defenses, and what you have to face is me with my full strength. I hope you can perform better, senior." Here we are. The 9 treasures turned out to be glazed. Ningrangrang called out the 9 treasures glazed pagoda and added all the increases to ZHU Zuking as soon as it came up. Obviously, for this battle, she has to return to the support position first. Seahorse Douluo has also completed the martial soul possession. Unlike Ghost Douluo, he is a purely physical attacking titled Douluo. Among all the soul skills, there are only a few strengthening and offensive soul skills, and the others are basically various boxing techniques. Attack. It's difficult to go head to head with him, so ZHU Zuking's speed becomes very critical. The first soul skill, Mysterious Sea Blue Barrier Wave. Layers of blue water waves are constantly beating up and down on Seahorse Douluo's body, one wave after another, superimposing energy and improving his defense at the same time, strengthening the soul skill of offense and defense. Netherworld Shadow Clone. ZHU Zuking separated 3 shadow clones, plus the main body, and attacked Seahorse Douluo from all directions. The third soul skill, Sea Shockwave Fist. Seahorse Douluo punched the ground, and the sea blue wave spread in a circle with him as the center. Large-scale attacks are the nemesis of ZHU Zuking's clone. Titled Douluo struck with all his strength, not to mention her little defense power. The 3 clones dissipated instantly, and only the main body could barely resist. The 5th soul skill, Raging Sea Fist. But then Seahorse Douluo punched ZHU Zuking himself with another punch. This was a unique single target attack, and it was much more powerful than the 3rd soul skill. The 6th soul skill, Nether Possession. ZHU Zuking activates his auxiliary amplification skill, which increases his dodge probability by 50%, his own resistance by 20%, and his attack piercing effect by 30%. She used this move at this time either to attack or to dodge against the 50%. Coupled with Ningrangrang's 3-day speed increase and 6-day increase, she finally narrowly avoided Seahorse Douluo's move fist. Oh, the speed is good. For a Soul Saint, with so many increases, it is already very good to be able to reach a speed comparable to a titled Douluo. But it depends on how you block the next punch. The 8th soul skill, Huhei Meteor Sunset Fist. A stronger punch, and as the 8th soul skill, this punch has an effect that the 5th soul skill does not have, which is soul skill locking, the nemesis of speed soul masters. This time, ZHU Zuking had no way to escape. He was hit head on by the strong fist wind. The figure that was knocked flying in midair could no longer maintain his martial soul's true form, and looked extremely weak. Zuking. Ningrangrang stepped forward anxiously to catch ZHU Zuking. ZHU Zuking was seriously injured, but it was a pity that Ningrangrang did not have the 9th soul skill now, so the body protecting divine light could only be used on himself. Otherwise ZHU Zuking would not be injured at all. Moreover, Seahorse Douluo is very smart. In this battle, he did not attack Ning Rangrong even once, because he knew that he could not hurt Ning Rangrong. So instead of wasting time on her, it would be better to deal with ZHU Zuking first point. As long as ZHU Zuking falls, the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda will lose its auxiliary object, which is meaningless. No matter how strong Ning Rangrong's ice sky and snow girlies, she only has 3 soul rings, so she is still a bit green to deal with him. A titled Douluo. Chapter 494 Passing the 5th test, the pride of the ice and snow emperors. Zuking, are you okay? Ning Rangrong helped ZHU Zuking up and asked with concern. ZHU Zuking shook his head. Although her face was pale, she was fine. It's okay. Although this man punched hard just now, he didn't have any killing intent. After his punch dispersed my martial soul, he used the remaining punch power to I took it back. Otherwise I might not be able to stand up anymore, because now I can't activate my martial soul's true form for the time being, and my combat effectiveness has seriously declined. It doesn't matter, we will think of another way. Ning Rangrong took back the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda and said, even with her increase, ZHU Zuking, who has lost his martial spirit avatar, cannot be a match for Seahorse Douluo. Now they must fight side by side. That guy Qibao is really ruthless. Although he is not the strongest among us, he is definitely the most serious. No wonder these 2 little girls will regard him as their last opponent. Several other Sea Douluo were also watching the assessment not far away. Seeing that Ning Rangrong and ZHU Zuking were forced into a desperate situation by Seahorse Douluo, Seagirl Douluo, who had the best temper among them, couldn't bear it. Although she had just lost her temper, she still couldn't bear it. Just like a child, it goes as quickly as it comes. After Phantom comforted her, she had completely recovered. Rangrong, Zuking, come on. Yu Xianheng and others all completed the assessment and came to the Seahorse Sacred Pillar to cheer up the 2 girls. HMPH. Encouragement is of no help to strength. These 2 people will not become stronger just because you come to cheer them up. Seahorse Douluo snorted coldly. Although he has a gentle personality, he is also the most serious. Today Ning Rangrong, if you don't show enough strength, you will definitely not get his approval point. While Ning Rangrong replaced his spirit, the 9th spirit ring slowly rose under Seahorse Douluo's feet. Rangrong, be careful, it's the 9th soul skill. ZHU Zuking said anxiously. Ice. King's body protection. Evil ice mirror. It was too late to replace the spirit again. Ning Rangrong did not hesitate to put up the same defensive formation as he had just used against Sea Ghost Douluo. Sea Ghost Douluo in the distance shook his head. It's useless. That guy Qibao's physical attack power is several times stronger than mine, and he uses the 9th soul skill. It's impossible to defend with these mirrors and armor. The 9th soul skill, Sky Shattering Tornado Nirvana Fist. Seahorse Douluo shouted and punched out to form a huge tornado. The wind of this punch was stronger than ever before, and the whole sea was boiling. Seeing this punch, Poseidon Douluo Bosaxi fell into a flash of memories. Back then, Poseidon Island encountered a disaster. An undersea volcano erupted, and it was Seahorse Douluo who prevented this disaster. He one punch flattened the entire volcano. Among the 7 Sea Douluo, only Sea Dragon Douluo dared to compete with him. Even if the others were stronger than Sea Spear Douluo, under this punch, they could only choose to avoid the edge temporarily. 10 ice mirrors were seen shattering into pieces, and Ning Rangrong's ice armor instantly turned into ice crystals all over the sky. With 2 screams, the 2 girls were hit by the tornado at the same time. Rangrong, Zuking, everyone in the audience shouted anxiously. At this moment, a figure was knocked out, like a kite with a broken string, falling downwards. It was ZHU Zuking. Bei Chengxiang took a quick step and flew into the sky to catch him. ZHU Zuking had already fainted. At the last moment, she pulled Ning Rangrong behind her and bore most of the punch force herself. At this time, Ning Rangrong did not give up the opportunity that ZHU Zuking gave up for her. She actually created a whirlwind with one palm and held a stalemate with the tornado. Although those ice mirrors and armor just could not withstand the sky-shattering tornado Nirvana Fist, they also weakened Seahorse Douluo's strength quite a bit. This was enough. In fact, the moment Seahorse Douluo punched out, the two good sisters, in Ning Rongrong's spiritual sea told her how to fight back. Sister Rongrong, when my power and the Ice Emperor's power are combined with each other, in addition to Zuwuji Ice Domain, there is also the most powerful attacking soul skill. In today's world, you are the only one who can reproduce this skill. You can't lose bearing the pride of me and the Snow Emperor, so fight back. Ice Emperor and Snow Emperor encouraged Ning Rongrong, and Ning Rongrong pushed up the other hand point when the power of the Ice Emperor and the Snow Emperor were concentrated in one palm, forming a huge ice storm whirlwind that blended white and green. The most powerful trick in the far north appeared point. This trick is the pride of the two Ice and Snow Emperors. Ning Rongrong shouted angrily. The ice storm whirlwind continued to grow stronger, and the balance of victory and defeat began to tilt. No matter how powerful Seahorse Douluo's 9th soul skill was, it could never compare to the one in the far north. The first big move point, the fist wind of the sky-shattering tornado Nirvana fist, was pushed back at an extremely fast speed. What? Seahorse Douluo's eyes suddenly widened, but before he could react, the terrifying cold air completely turned him into an ice sculpture. Heh. Ning Rongrong knelt down, as if she was relieved. With her current cultivation level, using the pride of the Ice and Snow Emperors was just like Tianlin using the Heaven and Earth Yuanling Slash, which had already destroyed her soul. The power was completely drained. However, this move is indeed powerful. Even if Ning Rongrong cannot fully exert the power of this move now, it is enough to make up for the strength gap between Contrab and titled Douluo, allowing her to leapfrog the challenge point with Seahorse Douluo being frozen. The outcome of this battle was decided, and Ning Rongrong successfully passed the 5th test point. Poseidon's light fell from the sky. Ning Rongrong, Poseidon passed the 5th test. Poseidon affinity increased by 10% and is now 45%. ZHU Zuking, assist the inheritor to pass the 5th test, and the reward is to increase the soul power by 1 level. It is now level 78, sure. Enough. Ning Rongrong's affinity level in the 5th test was not high. When Tianlin passed the 5th test, his affinity level was 55, and Tangsun in the original work also had 55. There was nothing she could do about it. In this assessment, her performance in the first 4 levels was really tricky, and a 10% improvement would be considered good. In addition, ZHU Zuking also received a compliment, and Contrasol Douluo took another step forward. The Poseidon's light seemed to have healed her injuries just now, and now she can stand up. At this time, Poseidon Douluo came through the air and landed lightly. He first released Seahorse Douluo's ice seal, then turned around and said, Ning Rongrong, congratulations on passing the 5th test. However, your 5th test cannot make Master Poseidon. I'm very satisfied, so the difficulty of the 6th test will be increased. Originally, your 6th test was supposed to be, to hold on to a stick of incense under the joint attack of the 7th sea god Douluo. But now, because of the increased difficulty, it has changed. From the original 7th sea Douluo, to me, I allow you to take the assessment together, so be prepared. Chapter 495 Tianlin arrives. When everyone heard Poseidon Douluo Boseixi say these words, their faces turned completely dark. In the 6th level, they were actually allowed to face Extreme Douluo directly, although they didn't know how strong Boseixi was. Several of them had witnessed the battle between Shenzhen and Qiondaoliu. With Qiondaoliu's holy light, the 1,000-meter high mountain summoned by the mountain god Tianlin instantly turned into ashes. And Shenzhen also caused the sky to collapse with a casual sword. At that time, 5 titled Douluo, Ning Fengzi, Yu Yuansun, Gurong, Du Gubo and Yun Yang had teamed up to fight against Qiondaoliu. You should know that at that time, they also included 2 Super Douluo, Yu Yuansun and Gurong. Ning Fengzi, the best assistant in the world, is here. The strength of these 5 people together is no weaker than that of the 7 guardians of the sacred pillar. But with such a lineup, the result was that they were unable to fight back. At that time, if the Shenzhen envoy had not sent out troops to relieve them, and had reached the ultimate Douluo level on the spot, the entire Qibao glazed sect plus the blue electric Tyrannosaurus Rex family would have been slaughtered by Qiondaoliu alone. This is a strength of ultimate Douluo. At this time, Yuxianheng was a little envious of those who took the 4th and 5th exams. At least they didn't have to face such strong people. Seeing their desperate looks, Bosexy smiled slightly and said, "Be patient, I haven't finished speaking yet. During the assessment process, I cannot use the power of the sea and the temple to attack you, and I do not use the domains. You can only use the first 6 soul skills. At the same time, as long as one of you is still standing, when the incense burns out, then you will be considered to have passed the assessment. However, you only have one chance. I will give you 3 days to prepare. In 3 days, you will accept my assessment." Hearing this, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Without the 8th and 9th most powerful attack soul skills, the martial spirit avatar could not be used, so they might still have a glimmer of hope. We going to face Bosexy in the 6th test? Fortunately, I came early. If something goes wrong, I can still help. In the dark, behind a rock, Tianlin stood against the rock. In fact, he was standing against the rock between Ningrangrang and Ningrangrang. The time has come for the battle between Seahorse Douluo. Ningrangrang's current strength surprised him a little. He didn't expect that she could even master the pride of the Ice and Snow Emperors. It was really rare. It seems that the Ice Emperor and Snow Emperor took good care of her during this period. It turned out that this was a soul skill that Huou Heo could only use with the help of a soul ring. However, Huou Heo's martial spirit is the Ice Jade Emperor Scorpion, and this move is led by the Snow Emperor. Therefore, it is easier for Ningrangrang, who directly uses the Snow Emperor as his martial spirit, to perform it. However, due to the limitations of his cultivation, he is not able to perform it now. Use the full power of this move. The reason why Tianlin came early was because he was worried that Bosexy would still kill Ningrangrang like before. After all, although Tianlin promised her that he would bring Tang Chen to see her, his words were unfounded. Bosexy was just in a state of doubt. She might not really show mercy for an empty promise. And Tianlin didn't want Bosexy and Tang Chen to meet early. In fact, the safest way is to show up again during the assessment and let Bosexy see Tang Chen in his hands. Even if Bosexy ignores the assessment and directly attacks Tianlin, Tianlin will not be afraid of her. After reaching level 96, Tianlin's strength increased again. If he didn't fight on Poseidon Island, Bosexy might not be his opponent. Even here, Bosexy couldn't do anything to him. When Bosexy realized that she couldn't get Tang Chen back from Tianlin, she would naturally understand that the only way to get Tang Chen back was to help Ningrangrang pass the 6th test. The reason why Tianlin didn't show up in advance was because he was afraid that Ningrangrang and the others would plead for mercy. In the past few years, Bosexy had hidden his murderous intention towards Ningrangrang very well, and he usually took good care of them. If he showed up in advance, and Bosexy asked for help, Ningrangrang and others would definitely not remain indifferent, and ask for help from Tianlin, which would put Tianlin in a dilemma. After all, whether it's his wife or his brother, he can't help but give face, so the best way is to kill him first, and tell him later. At this moment, Bosexy glanced at the reef and smashed the reef to pieces with a wave of his hand, but there was nothing behind it. "Hi, priest, what's wrong?" Sea Dragon Douluo asked respectfully. "It's nothing, just an illusion," Bosexy said doubtfully. She just felt a trace of life there, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye. The reason why she thought it was an illusion was because she didn't think that anyone in this world could hide themselves in front of her on Poseidon Island. Even Tang Chen and Qibao couldn't do it back then. As everyone dispersed, Bosexy returned to the palace, and the 7 Sea Douluo each guarded their own sacred pillars. Only then did Tianlin stand up and take a deep breath. Wow, it was so thrilling. As expected of the Sea God Douluo, if I hadn't made a breakthrough in the past few days and improved a lot in strength, she must have discovered it just now. After all, Haiyang's invincibility is not just talk. On the other side, everyone also came to the shore to take a rest and discuss tactics. To be honest, their hearts were very heavy. After all, their opponent was Poseidon Douluo. Moreover, there are only 4 people left who can continue to participate in the assessment. In addition to Ningrangrang, there are also Yushai and Heng, Oslo and Oscar. There were just a few of them, and they probably wouldn't be able to withstand even one blow from Bosexy. Still have a little blood of boss Tianlin on my hand. By replicating the mirror intestine, I can exert a little bit of boss's power, which should be helpful to Rangrang. Oscar said first point Oslo was not to be outdone. In this case, I have 6 soul bones in my body. With my invincible golden body and void soul skills, I will definitely be able to block several attacks from Rangrang. Thank you, Oscar. Oslo. Ning Rangrang smiled slightly, feeling sincerely grateful for everyone's help point, but hearing what they said made Yu Xianheng feel embarrassed. He had nothing point with his attack power. He definitely couldn't break through Bosake's defense, and his defense wasn't strong enough to withstand Bosake's blow. Fortunately, he was the captain of the Imperial fighting team, so he couldn't help his younger siblings at all point at this time. He had the same idea as the original Daimyo Bei, to go to sea, hunt soul beasts, and advance to Contrat. The stronger he gets, the better he gets, but as soon as he opened his mouth, he was rejected by everyone, not only because it would have a great impact on Yu Xianheng's future, but even if he wanted to hunt soul beasts. Not to mention true dragons, there must be at least sub-dragons in this vast sea. Where can he find a sub-dragon spirit beast? There is no way that one can float on the sea point at this moment. Xiemo stared at the sea and murmured, Xianheng, have you ever seen a two-headed dragon? The whole body is orange, the neck is very long, the teeth are very sharp, and these two heads are very strange. One it's normal, but the other one is actually on the neck, with the mouth pointing upward. Two-headed. Thunder dragon. Yu Xianheng blurted out, this is recorded in my family. It is a soul beast that is very suitable for my blue electric Tyrannosaurus. What's wrong with Stone Mo? Why do you mention this so well? Shimo pointed to the sea. Is that the thing? Upon hearing this, Yu Xianheng turned his head and looked at the sea, only to see a soul beast floating on the sea, exactly the same as what Xiemo had just described, and the thing seemed to be still breathing. That is to say, it was alive. Yu Xianheng was shocked. I'll go. It's really coming. Chapter 496 Husband and wife get together. Yu Feng spread his wings, flew to the sea, and dragged the two-headed brontosaurus from the sea to the shore point. Although this thunder dragon is not dead yet, it is taking in too much air and outgoing. It is obviously very injured. It's really strange. Why does a double-headed thunder dragon appear in the sea? Is it a land soul beast? Yu Xianheng looked puzzled. Could it be that the family records were wrong, and that this thunder dragon is actually an amphibious type? Could it be that he was injured on land, escaped to the sea, and then drifted to Poseidon Island? Oslo guessed. How is it possible? You, a scumbag who ranks last in every theoretical exam. Do you know how far away Poseidon Island is from the mainland? It is impossible for the soul beasts that enter the sea on land to drift here. I'm afraid they will either drown halfway, or be swept away by the sea. The soul beast ate it, not to mention that the thunder dragon was so seriously injured. Du Guyan rejected Oslo's unrealistic conjecture. Oslo was dissatisfied. Who said I was the last one? I was obviously the second last one. In the final exam before we graduated, I was 2 points higher than Zyroshan, but Zyroshan is not here now, so you will become the number one. Momo said ruthlessly. Oslo was speechless. Only then did he realize that Tianlin's existence was so important to him. He couldn't help but sigh. My little Xian, where are you? Come quickly, I don't want to be the last one. Dubu. Yan was too lazy to pay attention to the scumbag who was playing tricks, and said to Yu Xianheng, Xianheng, no matter where this thunder dragon comes from, can you tell the age of this thunder dragon, and whether it is suitable for you? Yu Xianheng nodded. Of course. Although my knowledge of soul beasts is not comparable to that of Lingling, if it is limited to thunder attribute and sub-dragon soul beasts, I guarantee that Lingling can't compare with me. After all, I'm a blue electric tyrannosaur, the direct heir of the family. Contrary to Oslo, this is the first time that Yu Xianheng doesn't miss Yi Lingling so much. After all, as long as Yi Lingling is not around, he is the number one in Huan Dao theory. Xianheng observed the size of the double-headed thunder dragon, the depth of the skin color, the length of the neck, etc., and his eyes lit up. Okay, this double-headed thunder dragon is more than 70,000 years old. It is even more suitable than a god-given soul ring. The 8th soul ring was found, and everyone was very happy for Yu Xianheng. As a result, his strength had been greatly improved, and the chance of passing the 6th test was a little higher. Tianlin in the dark smiled slightly. Of course, he specially prepared this double-headed thunder dragon. After being disabled, he sealed it with a dark gold seal and gave it to Yu Xianheng as a meeting gift. Tianlin knew that the one who needed soul beasts here the most was Xianheng. For the rest of them, it didn't matter, even if they didn't have God-given soul rings. There were so many soul beasts in the sea, so they could choose whatever they wanted. But Xianheng, because of the special nature of the blue electric Tyrannosaurus, needed a dragon-type soul beast, which was not so easy to find. So he went to the Sunset Forest to find this two-headed thunder dragon. Yu Xianheng took action to kill the two-headed thunder dragon, and then absorbed the soul ring. Looking at Xianheng, who was absorbing the soul ring, Ning Rangrang frowned. This was too much of a coincidence. Rather than saying that the two-headed thunder dragon floated here, it would be better to say that someone sent it here deliberately. Someone is helping them secretly. Who is it? Looks like he's already here. ZHU Zuking suddenly walked up to Ning Rangrang and smiled. Zuking, who are you talking about? Ning Rangrang pretended not to know. ZHU Zuking glanced at her teasingly. I'm asking questions knowingly. Although I don't know why he didn't show up, I think your 6th exam should be fine. He will protect you from passing. Ning Rangrang nodded with a blushing face. She was very happy that Xianlin arrived early. That night, while Yu Xianheng was still absorbing the soul ring, Du Guyan was protecting her husband, and Ning Rangrang quietly left the girls' camp and walked into the forest. If Xianlin wanted to show up again during her 6th exam, it would take another 3 days, and she couldn't wait that long. Brother Jian, I know you are coming. Please come out. Ning Rangrang called softly. After a long time, there was still no reply. Now she felt completely aggrieved. Her mouth was slightly deflated, and tears were still shining in her eyes. You're here but you don't see me. Do you think you don't like me anymore? In this case, I won't take the 6th exam, and will go back home to find you. Xianlin was helpless in the dark. After so many years, this girl was already 20, but sometimes she still looked like the 10-year-old girl back then. It's especially serious when dealing with him, and he will make willful mistakes when things don't go his way. With no other choice, Xianlin had no choice but to show up. Otherwise he was afraid that the little witch would really find a boat and go out to sea alone in order to force him out. Rangrang. Xianlin's call brought Ning Rangrang, who was sobbing with his head down, back to his senses, seeing her husband who was thinking about her day and night. Ning Rangrang could no longer hold back and threw herself into Xianlin's arms. Brother Jian, you're so annoying that you don't come out to see me even when I'm here. You must be in love with someone else, right? Isn't it Kan Ringsu? Xianlin hugged Ning Rangrang and said with a smile, well, Rangrang, in fact, I don't have a love affair with Kan Ringsu, because I'm originally in love with both of them. I love you 80%, and I love her 2%. You. Ning Rangrang was so angry that she gritted her teeth. What about the deep love between husband and wife that they promised? After not seeing each other for 3 years, you spoke so honestly. Although she had known about this for a long time, are you really the same as before, or are you so scumbag? Ning Rangrang was so angry that she opened her mouth, exposed her small tiger teeth, and bit down on Xianlin's shoulder. However, with her biting force, she couldn't even leave a trace on Xianlin's skin. You bite people as soon as you come up. You really have the demeanor of a little witch. Xianlin smiled and stroked her hair without paying attention. HMPH, you bully others just because you are strong and your skin is as thick as that of a scaled beast. Ning Rangrang said, dissatisfied. Her eyes suddenly lit up and she looked at Xianlin's lips. By the way, it's thinner here. After a long time, Xianlin covered the corners of his lips with a look of pain on his face. This little girl was really cruel. No matter how deep his skills were, he had not yet reached this point, and she bit her and bled. But this can be regarded as a little couple's fun, so Xianlin did not use the blue silver emperor soul bone to speed up self-healing. After venting her anger like this, Ning Rangrang's anger was completely gone. At this time, She was leaning in Tianlin's arms, unwilling to let go. Brother. Jian, why did you arrive early? Because I estimated the time. It's almost time for you to take the 6th test, so I came here in advance. This test is different from the previous ones and is life-threatening. Tianlin said seriously. Life is in danger? Why? Senior Bosexi is responsible for this test. Although Senior Bosexi is very powerful, she is a very kind person. She has taken good care of me in the past 3 years. She should not kill me, right? Ning Rangrang asked confused. Chapter 497 Summoning God to Transfer. No, she will, and she would definitely do it originally, but because of my letter 3 years ago, it became possible. The reason why I came early was to eliminate this last possibility. General Tianlin. The story of Bosexi and Tang Chen was told to Ning Rangrang exactly as it was, and what Bosexi was going to sacrifice. When she reached the 9th Poseidon test point, this allowed Ning Rangrang to fully understand Bosexi's thoughts. It turned out that she was obsessed with her lover. It's no wonder that, if the situation of these two people were replaced by herself and Tianlin, before meeting Tianlin, she definitely doesn't want to die either. Although Tianlin had promised to bring Tang Chen to see her, after all, there was no basis for what he said, so how could Bosexi believe it 100%? Ning Rangrang leaned on Tianlin's arms, and looked at the sea, her expression looking a little melancholy. Just now, Tianlin also stated the reason why he did not return Tang Chen in advance. That was because he was worried that Bosexi could cure Tang Chen. In the original work, Tang Chen was not only poisoned, but also had his body broken through the 8th test, and the sudden drop of Shura's divine power caused him to completely collapse. But now, he was just poisoned, and the Shura power had long since left his body. Sea Ghost Douluo of Poseidon Island is a master of poison, and with Bosexi's Poseidon's light, it is not impossible for him to be rescued. Although the poison was a bit scary, and had penetrated deep into the bone marrow, the chance of being rescued was only 1 in 10,000, but it was about Ning Rangrang, and Tianlin didn't bother to gamble, no matter how low the odds were. Otherwise, in order to stay together with the recovered Tang Chen, Bosexi might beat him even more severely than in the original work. Killing the assessor during the assessment would displease Poseidon, but it would not break the rules. Even Poseidon would not do it. What will he do to her? Therefore, Tianlin originally decided to show up with the crystal that sealed Tang Chen in the middle of the 6th test, to let Bosexi know that Tang Chen was indeed in his hands, and then signaled Bosexi to wait for Ning Rangrang to complete the test, then return it. This was used to ensure that Ning Rangrang would definitely be able to break through the 6th test of the 9 Poseidon tests. The method is feasible, but for Ning Rangrang, doing so makes her feel uncomfortable. In the past few years, Bosexi has been very good to her, taking good care of her in all aspects, and if she becomes a god, she will have to sacrifice her life. From this point of view, she really owed her a lot. She knew that Tianlin was able to save Tang Chen. The ultimate curse of returning yin and yang could cure everything. She should intercede for her, at least in her last days. Let her and Tang Chen stay together to repay this kindness, but once he pleads for mercy, he will let Tianlin save a person who is destined to be his enemy. If Tang Chen recovers, it is impossible not to go back to the Haotian sect. By then, because of Tang San and Tang Hao, he will inevitably turn against Tianlin. Fight to the death. Tang Chen was not Bosexi. As the High Priest of Poseidon Island, Bosexi could not leave for a long time. Therefore, no matter how much she missed Tang Chen over the years, she could not go to him. It was a real dilemma. If she didn't plead, she would be sorry for Bosexi. If she plead for mercy, she would be sorry for Tianlin. No wonder Tianlin didn't want to show up in advance, just to prevent her from getting entangled. Sorry, Senior Bosexi, Rangrang can only be selfish this time. I can't make enemies for my husband. Ning Rangrang thought to himself. Seeing that Ning Rangrang was silent for a long time, Tianlin knew that she was struggling. Although she would definitely choose him in the end, she could not help but feel guilty. Tianlin couldn't do anything about it. He once flaunted himself as a false virgin. The reason why he was false was precisely because all his actions of doing good deeds and helping others were based on the premise that the interests of his relatives would not be harmed. After all, Tang Chen was an ultimate Douluo and had a close relationship with Bo Seixi. If he returned to the Haoshan sect, he would be considered a formidable enemy to the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. In the entire sect, except for himself and his master, no one was like him opponent point. Even if the master now has greater achievements in the Sword of Destruction, he can only be at a 50-50 level with him point. He had even decided that, even if Bo Seixi could really cure Tang Chen in the future, he would intercept and kill Tang Chen on his way back to Haoshan sect. Tianlin didn't want more of an ultimate Douluo level opponent. He is not afraid, not even the disciples of the sect, nor even Ning Rangrong. By the way, Rangrong, it's actually good for you to call me out in advance. I have prepared a gift for you to reunite after a long separation. Give it to you now. It will definitely help you break through the 6th test. Tianlin suddenly he said that he could only divert Ning Rangrong's attention in this way. Gift. As expected, the double-headed thunder dragon just now was given to brother Xian Heng by you. What about me? I'm your wife and our relationship is worse than that of brothers. His is a 70,000-year-old soul ring. If you give it to me, your gift is not worth as much as a 100,000-year soul ring. I won't accept it. Ning Rangrong said coquettishly. She was already a little jealous, but after Tianlin arrived, the first person she cared about was Yu Xian Heng. She was obviously her closest spouse. Tianlin gently stroked his hair and said softly, "Don't worry, I guarantee it will be more precious than a 100,000-year soul ring. Take out your 9 treasure glazed pagoda." Although Ning Rangrong didn't know what Tianlin was going to do, she never doubted Tianlin and immediately summoned the 9 treasure glazed pagoda. Looking at the 8-thread soul ring on Ta's body, Tianlin was very pleased. It took a lot of perseverance to condense the god-given soul ring into a 100,000-year soul ring. It seemed that she had grown a lot. Immediately, Tianlin summoned the Holy Spirit bead. Rangrong, do you still remember that when my master and I joined forces to fight Kai and Aoliu, I summoned to help us? Well, I remember. One is called the martial god and the other is the mountain god. Of course Ning Rangrong remembered how powerful Tianlin was at that time. With the help of the 2 gods, Tianlin nodded. Yes, the martial god and the mountain god are both incarnations of gods and are very powerful. In fact, they are the real gods who left a spiritual thought in the spirit bead and combined it with part of their power to transform into earth spirits. After the bead turned into my soul ring, I could summon it. The martial god was surrendered by a great god, and his power and divine power were directly sealed in my holy spirit bead. The soul ring was like unsealing. The key allows me to use the art of summoning gods. As my strength increases, I can unlock the power of the gods bit by bit. What? Do you mean, as long as you get the spirit beads, you can summon the gods? Ning Rangrong asked doubtfully. It's almost the same. Not only do you need to get it, but you also need to learn how to use it. Tianlin took out a blue spirit bead from his arms. This is a water spirit bead. The one inside is a bit special. It's not a god, but a big the demon. The snow demon is as powerful as my martial god and the mountain god. Although I can't let you directly absorb the power of the water spirit bead, I can transfer the snow demon's spiritual thoughts and a small part of the power sealed inside and seal it into your 9 treasure glazed tower. From then on, the snow demon's the power of summoning is yours. This is what Tianlin has long thought about. With his current strength, he does not lack the help of a summoning god. Moreover, most of the power of the snow demon is still in the water spirit bead. It has no impact on the power of the water spirit bead. It is just empty power and no god. Nyan, Tianlin cannot be summoned. Tianlin wanted to give all his power to Ning Rangrong. The problem was that the 9 treasure glazed tile tower could not withstand the full strength of the snow demon. The tower would definitely explode. He had originally thought about whether he could seal the snow girl in the ice sky. Among the martial spirits, Ning Rangrong's snow maiden spirit is special. It is a wise martial spirit, inhabited by the soul of the snow maiden. Tianlin was worried that, if he put the snow demon's spiritual thoughts into it again, the huge soul power would destroy the snow emperor's soul. Ice Sky Snow Girl was the one who led Ning Rangrong to undergo a qualitative change. They could not repay kindness with enmity and do such a risky thing. In addition, the maximum power limit of the snow demon imported into the 9 treasure glazed tower is enough to reach the level of a first level god. At least during this period of Douluo Continent, it is enough for Ning Rangrang to use point looking at the water spirit bead. Tianlin whispered in his heart, Miss Snow Demon, please take care of my wife for me. When I go to the world of fairy swords, Tianlin will definitely find your true self and come to thank you. Chapter 498 Poseidon Douluo's Assessment, The Art of Summoning God Snow Demon. 3 days later in the morning, when the first ray of sunlight shone on Poseidon Island, the towering Poseidon Temple stood on the top of Poseidon Mountain. The sacred golden color ended the entire Poseidon Mountain, making all the plants here seem to be full of vitality. In front of the circular sea, several young figures stood on the backs of the demonic great white sharks, heading towards Poseidon Mountain. Everyone, come on. I don't know why, but I feel that, even if Poseidon Douluo takes action himself, he won't be able to trouble you. When you pass the test, remember to come to the beach, to tell me the good news. Xiaobai saw everyone arriving, and turned around to leave. Ning Rangrang, Oscar, Oslo, and Yu Xianheng looked at each other, and walked towards Poseidon Mountain with firm eyes. Ah. You ready? A voice as clear as a cloud came, and a red figure fell from the sky. Just like before, no one knew how she appeared. Poseidon Douluo Bosexi had already landed in front of them. Compared with before, her face at this time was a little less smiling, but a little more serious. You only have one chance. I won't let you go. If you fail my assessment, then I believe you all know what punishment Master Poseidon will bring you. Poseidon Douluo radiated an extremely heavy pressure, making everyone present almost breathless. We are all ready. Please give me some advice, senior. As the eldest brother of the team, Yu Xianheng took the initiative to shoulder most of the pressure for everyone. Okay, everyone who has nothing to do with it will stand aside and watch the battle. The assessment will begin immediately. Bosexi lit a stick of incense and stuck it on the ground. Everyone, get ready to fight. Activate your martial arts spirit. Yu Xianheng said loudly, and the four of them activated their martial spirits at the same time. The blue electric Tyrannosaurus, the ghost leopard, the 9 treasure glazed tower, and the magic sword copied from the sausage point with the assistance of Ning Rangrang's 3-day soul. Oscar's magic sword can be used for 3 minutes. Coupled with the self-recovery of all souls returning divine light and extreme curse returning yin and yang, it can last about 7 to 8 minutes. Moreover, this time the magic sword actually has the 9th soul ring. This is his new blood that Tianlin gave to Ning Rangrang last night. You didn't run away. Bosexi was a little surprised. The best way to fight her was to run away. After all, it was said that, as long as one person was standing, the test would be passed. This is the method used by Tangsun in the original work point. But yesterday Tianlin told Ning Rangrang that this method was not feasible, because Bosexi would not pay attention to the remaining 3 people at all. If she had murderous intentions, all attacks would be directed at Ning Rangrang alone. The fact that the other 3 passed the examination has no impact on her, but when the time comes, Ning Rangrang will be unable to support herself, and will undoubtedly die. This is exactly what Bosexi thought. In the past few years, her murderous intention towards Ning Rangrang has been hidden, but it has not completely dissipated. The person who promised to bring Tang Chen has not yet appeared. She has to doubt that the person was lying to her, just using Tang Chen's information to ask her to help Ning Rangrang pass the test. Once Ning Rangrang passed the 6th test, she would have no chance to kill him again. Then, let's begin. The 2nd soul skill, Poseidon's Gaze. Bosexi gently raised his palm, and the 4 of them suddenly seemed to be held in the palm of a huge hand. This is a permanent soul skill lock. After activating Poseidon Gaze, all attacks from Bosexi will definitely hit the opponent. It is hard to imagine that this is just a 2nd soul skill. The 9 treasures are famous. Ning Rangrang flew out several rays of light from the 9 treasures, glazed tower, and enveloped everyone. This time, she was very unexpected. She gave everyone the same assistant, which was the 3-day soul. Only Oscar had the same effect. There is a 5-day attack and a 6-day increase. The strongest point of Oscar, who wields the magic sword, is undoubtedly his attack power. Do you want to defeat me with that sword? It's too simple to think. Besides, I have no interest in others. The 4th soul skill, the Sea of Annihilation. Bosexy stayed put, but a huge wave of waves came from the ground. It spurted out, and because of the presence of Poseidon gaze, no one could dodge it. Except for Ning Rangrong, the other 3 people were trapped by the waves. This is a controlling soul skill that can control the entire enemy. Bosexy trapped others, but missed Ning Rangrong. The answer is obvious. For others, she only trapped them, but for Ning Rangrong, she's going to kill him. Sure enough, the next moment, Bosexy summoned a dozen huge water balls, each 100s of meters in diameter. Added together, they had covered the entire sky, the wild waves of the vast sea. All the water balls fell, targeting Ning Rangrong. Bosexy was ruthless enough. If there was no protection from Poseidon's light, these dozen water balls alone would be enough to flood the entire Poseidon island once they exploded on the ground. The 8th soul skill, 9 treasures divine light body protection. Ning Rangrong decisively activated the defensive soul skill. Unfortunately, although her 8th soul skill is said to be able to block the 9th soul skill of title Douluo, it depends on who you are. Hanhei Raging Wave is Bosexy's self-created soul skill. Its power is enough to surpass the 9th soul skill of ordinary title Douluo, and has already exceeded the upper limit of the 9 treasures divine light protection. A good defensive soul skill, but it can only hold up a few moves. The water balls hit the 9 treasure glazed pagoda one by one, and cracks appeared on the body of the dazzling pagoda. Ning Rangrong spat out with a mouthful of blood. Bosexy's power was truly astonishing. Damn it, the target is indeed Rangrong. Ocean is not here. If I can't even protect my own brothers and sisters, what kind of captain is I? The 8th soul skill, Thunder Dragon, Double Thunder Shock. Don't underestimate the 6 soul bones and invincible golden body that Ocean gave me. At this time, Oslo and Yu Xianheng suddenly exerted their strength. Yu Xianheng's newly acquired 8th soul skill and Oslo's 6 soul bones completely exploded. The 2 soul Douluo broke through the seal and joined forces to save Oscar. Oscar has made no move until now, as if he is waiting for something. Seeing the 3 people escaping from the Sea of Annihilation, Ning Rangrong realized that the opportunity had come. The 8th soul ring flashed again, and new power appeared. The 8th soul skill, the art of summoning God Snow Demon, from within the 9 treasure glazed pagoda. A huge and overwhelming cold air suddenly appeared. The wind and snow gathered together, turning into a fairy-like woman, dressed in white gauze, with long blue hair blowing in the wind. The snow girl in Rangrong's body was horrified. She was very similar to her in appearance and temperament, but she was 10 times more noble. Could this be the god of their snow girl clan? The snow demon looked at the remaining water polo in the sky, waved his long sleeves, and in an instant, the water polo turned into ice balls. The ice balls fell down one by one without Bosexy's control. This would destroy Poseidon Mountain. Bosexy immediately used all his soul power to bounce the falling ice ball and fall into the sea. Is this the power of the snow demon? It actually defeated the ultimate Douluo's attack so easily. Ning Rangrong said in surprise. It was as if the Snow Emperor was assisting her in the fight. Chapter 499. Passing the level. Heaven and Earth. Tianlin reappears. The strength of the Snow Demon depends on Ning Rangrong's strength. The Snow Demon summoned by Ning Rangrong at level 84 has the power of a title Douluo. Although it is still far inferior to Bosexy, with the help of its powerful freezing the power can delay it for a while. I didn't expect you to have such a trump card. However, because of your limited strength, she cannot fully display her strength, and is not my opponent yet. Bosexy said softly, but the murderous intent in her tone made everyone people feel chilly. The 6th soul skill, Burial at Sea. Bosexy raised his scepter, and the scepter rotated together with Bosexy himself. The sky and the earth changed, and a black and blue black hole appeared in the sky. Then, the black and blue black hole formed a water spout, and the huge suction force seemed to suck everything in. This black hole is inside and closed. The High Priest has even used this move. It seems that the outcome has been decided. Unless the soul power is higher than that of the High Priest, or the attack power is strong enough to tear apart the black hole, there is no possibility of breaking. Sea Dragon Douluo, who was watching the battle, sighed. He took a breath, and prepared to leave. In his opinion, a group of children around level 80 would dead under this attack. Sister, Snow Demon, please resist us for a while. Ning Rangrang requested. The Snow Demon looked at Ning Rangrang and nodded lightly, flew to the black hole, released all her cold energy, and tried to freeze the water spout as much as possible. Unfortunately, her current strength was nothing compared to her heyday, otherwise she would even the entire black hole can be frozen directly, but now it can only be delayed for a minute point. Just 1 minute was enough. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the four of them suddenly stood in a straight line. Using Ning Rangrang's ring melting ability as the core, they introduced all the soul power of the four into Oscar, who was at the front point under the amplification of the 9 treasures glazed pagoda. The combined soul power of 4 soul masters over level 80 directly pushed Oscar's soul power to level 90. On top of the demon sword, the originally dim 8th and 9th souls, the ring immediately flashed. This is the 4-in-1 fusion technique. Bosexy was finally a little moved. She realized that these children had placed all their hopes on that sword. Oscar suddenly let out a painful roar. He might still be able to withstand the 8-ring magic sword, but when it reached the 9-ring level, it was almost beyond his upper limit. He needed some time to withstand this power. It was very difficult, a test of willpower, but Bosexy didn't want to give them this time. So what if the black hole was temporarily blocked by the snow demon? She could attack it herself. Stormy waves. Bosexy raised her fingers slightly, and a huge wave rolled up behind her, seeming to drown everything. In order to buy time for Oscar, Ning Rangrang took the initiative to run forward. Her 9 treasure divine light body protection had not disappeared yet. After using this soul skill, Ning Rangrang did not need to continue to consume soul power to maintain it. Unless Ning Rangrang takes the initiative to lift it, or is completely shattered by the other party, otherwise it will definitely exist. Facing Bosexy's fierce attack, cracks continued to appear on the pagoda, and everyone felt a strong murderous aura. Bosexy became more and more determined to kill Ning Rangrang. At this moment, a piece of crystal suddenly fell from the sky, and landed in front of everyone. Tianlin also fell with the crystal. Bosexy's eyes widened immediately, because there was a person sealed in the crystal. It was Tang Chen. Tianlin stood on the crystal, and looked at the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda, that was on the verge of being broken. He smiled lightly, and put a little force on his feet. Multiple cracks appeared in the crystal, and the shape of the cracks was exactly the same as that of the 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda. Senior Bosexy, I brought Tang Chen here as promised, but it seems inconvenient for you now. It's better to wait until the assessment is over before meeting with Senior Tang Chen. Tianlin smiled while exuding the aura of competing with Bosexy. There was a hint of threat in his tone. It is true that he cannot directly interfere with Ning Rangrang's assessment, but Tang Chen is not in the assessment. Bosexy does not understand what he means. All the harm she inflicts on Ning Rangrang will be fed back to Tang Chen. Morning body. If he wanted him to let Tang Chen go, Ning Rangrang couldn't die. Bosexy hesitated immediately. If it was normal, she would use the power of Poseidon to rob it. So what? This is Poseidon Island, and she is invincible here. But she is currently in the assessment. The restriction on her in this assessment is that she cannot use the power of the Poseidon and the 7, 8, and 9 soul skills. Judging from the power Tianlin just emitted, she will definitely not be able to defeat him without the power of the Poseidon. The problem is that once she uses it, Poseidon will immediately judge her as violating the rules, and Ning Rangrang will pass the assessment directly. This led to an endless loop. If Poseidon's power was not used, then in order to ensure Tang Chen's life, she could only let Ning Rangrang pass the test. If she used it, Poseidon would directly judge Ning Rangrang to have passed the test. It turns out that Tianlin didn't show up before because of this moment. ZHU Zuking suddenly realized and secretly said, "You are so clever, B. And, B, you have pushed Senior Bosexy into a desperate situation in one fell swoop." Zuking, don't think that I can't hear the sound of your words. This time I will treat it as you complimenting me, but next time I won't have your share of making sweet and sour fish. Let Hanjin eat it all. Tianlin Tao didn't reply either. You can hear me, even if I say it so quietly, and the pettiness of a child has not changed at all. Zhu King did not dare to say it directly this time, but complained silently in his heart. In the short time, when both Saixi and Tianlin were confronting each other, Oscar suddenly erupted with extremely powerful sword energy. He barely withstood the power of the magic sword with his will, but the 9-ring magic sword can only be used by 10 people. A few seconds, that is to say, Oscar only has the power of 1 blow. This attack must be done with a 1 strength. The 9th soul skill, Heaven and Earth Yuanling Slash. The giant blade turned into golden light sword into the sky. The length of the sword had exceeded the diameter of the entire Poseidon Island. With this sword slashed down, Poseidon Island would have been wiped off the map if it were not protected by Poseidon's light. In fact, this length is less than half of what Tianlin used, but with Oscar's ability, it is already very good to exert this power. Cut! Oscar shouted angrily, and the magic sword suddenly fell. Bo Saix's heart was shaken. She could feel that, if she only relied on the first 6 soul skills to catch this sword, she would die. The 9th soul skill, Poseidon is coming. Almost subconsciously, Bo Saixi used his 9th soul skill. This move has the same effect as Kai and Daoliu's angel god descending. It can activate the power of Poseidon to upgrade his strength to a demigod. Moreover, if Bo Saixi performs it on Poseidon Island, he can temporarily gain 2 of Poseidon's powers. Poseidon is a peak level 1 god. With his 2 powers, not to mention ultimate Douluo or demigod, even a true level 3 god can hang him up and fight him. However, after using this move, Bo Saixi's 3rd level the 9 soul ring will be sealed for a month. Bo Saixi waved the staff and caught the sword head on. After all, Oscar was not Tianlin himself, and could not exert the full power of the Heaven and Earth Yuanling Slash. The huge force of the shock bounced Oscar's body away. Tianlin hurriedly stepped forward to catch him, input a soul power to help him heal, then looked at Bo Saixi and said, "Senior Bo Saixi, the assessment is over. Come on, you used your 9th soul skill, which is against the rules." Bo Saixi was silent. Tianlin was right. She lost. Although the time for burning incense was not up, she had already passed the test by forcing her to use her 9th soul skill. No one has ever passed the test in this way. In the past, the 6th test was held under the Douluo of the 7 sacred pillars, and even holding on to a stick of incense was considered very rare. The fighting ability of these children is indeed surprisingly strong. Chapter 500 Tangqin and Bo Saixi. Ningrangrong. After completing the 6th of the 9 Poseidon exams, the reward for Poseidon affinity is 20%, which is now 65%. Xianheng. After completing the 6th of the 6 black level exams, his soul power increased by 1 level. Since all 6 exams were completed, he received an additional reward of 1 level of soul power. He is now at level 83. Osluo. After completing the 6th of the 6 black level exams, your soul power has been increased by 1 level. Since all 6 exams have been completed, you will receive an additional reward of 1 level of soul power. It is now level 86. Oscar, with both wisdom and bravery, forced Poseidon Douluo to use his 9th soul skill. He overcompleted the 6th of the 6 black level exams, and his soul power increased by 2 levels. Since all 6 exams were completed, he was given an additional reward of 1 level of soul power, which is now 8. Level 10, 81. Grant a god-given soul ring. The light of Poseidon descended, and all 4 of them received rewards, and they gradually recovered from the injuries they had just suffered. Especially Oscar, whose soul power suddenly increased by 3 levels, reaching the level of Contrap. Because he had just reached the bottleneck, he was given a god-given soul ring. Oscar was a little embarrassed. How could he be both wise and brave? He was just taking advantage of Tianlin. Seeing his appearance, Tianlin stepped forward and patted him on the shoulder. "Are you sorry? You can hold on to my 9-ring magic sword with your perseverance, which is very commendable." "That's right." Bo Saixi walked over with graceful steps. "That sword is even more powerful than my Poseidon martial spirit. This is the first time I have been injured by a soul saint. You see, although you use the 4-in-1 fusion skill to push your soul power to the level of a titled Douluo, you are only the first to enter the title. The attack power of that sword can't kill an extreme Douluo at full strength. If you don't have extreme perseverance, it is absolutely impossible for a strong person to copy this kind of martial spirit." Bo Sexy picked up the scepter in his hand and blew a breath. The scepter instantly turned into powder. It was chopped into pieces by the magic sword. How could the heaven and earth Yuanling slash be so easy to block if it weren't for Bosex's profound cultivation? If you move in time, you will definitely be seriously injured just now. Seeing Bosexy say this, Oscar no longer felt embarrassed and sat aside to absorb the soul ring point. At this time, Bosexy turned to look at Tianlin. You must be Rangrang's husband. She has now passed the 6th Poseidon test. Shouldn't you return Tang Chen to me as promised, Bo? Sex's tone was still calm, but the Sword Douluo who had dealt with her for many years could hear her unprecedented anxiety. It seemed that Tang Chen was indeed very important in her heart. Tianlin smiled slightly, took Ning Rangrang's hand and said, of course. Although you still had murderous intentions towards my wife just now, in the past few years, you have indeed not broken your promise and taken more care of Rangrang. I'm now lift Tang Chen's seal. That's right, Senior Bosexy, I don't blame you at all. Brother Jian has already told me the truth of the matter. If I don't die, you will die. People are selfish. If one day, my brother Jian is in danger, but if I can save him by sacrificing one person, even if that person is innocent, I'm afraid I won't be merciful. Ning Rangrang compared her feelings with others. If she were in Bosexy's position, she might be even more ruthless than Bosexy. Bosexy nodded apologetically. Don't worry, after the 6th test is over, I have no chance to kill you. How far you can go next depends on you. When you finish the 9th test, I will fulfill my duties. At this time, Tianlin had released Tang Chen's seal. He was still the same, with all his limbs broken off. But the moment he saw Bosexy, the excitement in his heart made him struggle to get up. Tang Chen, how did you become like this? Bosexy hugged Tang Chen. She could no longer bear the pain in her heart for many years, and her voice was slightly choked. I'm sorry, Bosexy, I failed the divine test, and am not qualified to propose marriage to you. Tang Chen was really a straight man, and he was still struggling with this matter at this time. Fool, big fool. Do you really think that I hope to marry a god? I said that just to reject Qibao Liu, but you fool believed it, and didn't come back for so many years. If you came back earlier, maybe perhaps no, it's me who's wrong. I was too proud back then. I didn't tell you clearly or even hint at you about my feelings for you. All the faults are mine, Bo. Sexy blamed herself and felt sad. Seeing her like this, Tianlin felt a little sorry. Who said that the Haotian sect was an enemy? Tang Chen was also an enemy. Bringing him back today to see Bosexy for the last time was an act of kindness and justice. There is no need to ask for trouble to save him. Tianlin walked to Tang Chen and Bosexy and said to Tang Chen Sr., what I promised you has been completed. Next, please accompany Senior Bosexy and say goodbye. Rangrang, don't disturb Senior Bosexy and Senior Tang Chen. Let's leave first. Yes. Ning Rangrang nodded and was about to leave with everyone. Wait a minute. Tang Chen suddenly stopped a few people with words. Little brother, I'm very grateful for your help. I will never go back on what I promised you before. I will ask Bosexy to deliver the soul bones later. But I have one more question. You are a soul master from land, right? Can you tell me some news about Haotian sect? I don't have much time left, and besides Bosexy, the only thing I'm worried about is the sect. Hearing Tang Chen's question, Tianlin sighed in his heart. Could he still tell the truth? There would be no benefit, except making Tang Chen hate himself before he died, and never die in peace. In the end, Tianlin could only say this. Senior, don't worry, the Haotian sect is still the largest sect in the Douluo Continent. There are 7 titled Douluo in the sect. The 2 brothers Tang Hao and Tang Zhao are famous all over the world, as are the 5 elders. He is strong and strong. In addition, Tang Hao also fathered a child with a woman named Yin, named Tang San. His talent is not inferior to yours, and is enough to support the future of Haotian sect. Really? It's great that Hao has a wife. In this way, I feel relieved. Tang Chen felt reassured after hearing this. Knowing that Haotian sect is fine, he can feel at ease in the remaining few days. I stayed with Bosexy. Others were not stupid enough to expose Tianlin. They all could tell that it was a white lie. At least, it would allow Tang Chen to rest in peace after his death. Sea Dragon Douluo came over at this time and said, "Little girl, can your 7th test be postponed for a few days? You have also seen the situation of the High Priest at this time. You can rest in our Sea Dragon City first, and wait until you can proceed. After the assessment, I will send someone to inform you. Don't worry, it won't be delayed for too long." "Yes, thank you, senior." Of course, Ning Rangrang had no objection. She happened to undergo continuous assessments, and she was exhausted both physically and mentally. The group of people walked towards the direction of Heilang City. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.